Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. I help them with their relationships, and today I'm going to be helping them with their dating life. So, dating someone new post breakup, dating someone from work. We actually got two stories on deck today, um, and they're very similar, actually, by ironic, spectacular coincidence. We got B on deck today.
What's going on?
And yeah, we're going to get into those stories shortly. But I think it's kind of interesting dating someone new post breakup. So you've been through a breakup, you've had a month, 2 months. A lot of times people will say they need a break or they're not over it. But then there's some people that just jump right in, right? Because for whatever reason, they got options. So some people are like, oh, how am I not letting this go? How am I not getting through this? Do you have any other options on deck? It's actually It actually is one of those things where someone said, well, there are times when you definitely, if it's 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, you live together, you're married, whatever, you need some time to lick your wounds, you need some time away. I get it. But the people that rotate and pivot out of a breakup quickest are the ones that have some options within a month, 2 months, and explore those. Now, some people would say, oh, that's a rebound, oh, that's monkey branching. You could call it that, whatever. Uh, what happens though is a lot of times you'll meet someone and they'll knock your socks off, as the great Corey Wayne says, and you'll think to yourself, wow, this is great. They're so different than my ex. Oh my god, and everything that's been going wrong with your ex gets erased because you meet this new person that's wow. I've had it before where I've come out of a breakup. You start dating someone, wow, you like such and such, wow, like I didn't know there was women out there that lined up with me like this. I didn't know that we could, get through dinner without arguing. And so sometimes those new relationships get elevated because you've been neglected for a long time. And then you get into this new relationship, you get excited, you get all amped up and you think to yourself, well, if we do the same things I did before, we can make this into a long-term relationship. We can get serious quick. I've done it before, and then all of a sudden the other person goes, pumps the brakes and goes, get out of the car. I don't want to be with you anymore. And you're like, wait a minute. I was just in a 5-year relationship. This isn't how it goes down when I like someone or care about someone or love someone. What's up with this? So a lot of times I've had people come to me and they basically said, I was in a 5-year, I was in an 8-year, I was in a 10-year, I was in a 15-year marriage. That wasn't difficult. I knew that breakup had to go down. It's the person I met afterwards that threw me for a loop. I was head over heels. I was in too deep, right? Then they get into this and they go, wow, right? So, let me know if you have any questions on deck. I'm going to get into the stories pretty quickly. Do you have anything to add to that, B? Dating someone new post-breakup? Do you think someone should have at least 30 days of no dating, or do you think there should be something like that?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good little rule to follow. 30 days sounds pretty good.
Unless you meet someone really hot that's interested in you.
I guess so. You need time to cool off or whatever, but yeah, that for sure.
Someone falls out of the sky and they just
right,
you're just like at the coffee shop and you're like, oh wow,
yeah.
You asked for my number,
right?
You want to go out with me?
Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it all has consequences when you're post breakup and you get entangled with someone new, because a lot of times you think that basically if you run the same playbook, you'll be able to be long-term partners. And a lot of times, to get to a point of 5, 6, 7, 8 years with someone, that's an achievement.
I also think too that when you are in that long-term relationship and you come out of that, and it's almost like you're expecting that again, right off the bat. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is gonna happen automatically. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it can throw you for a loop.
It's gonna throw you for a big loop. Mm-hmm. So we got 2 on deck, 1 like. If you have a breakup story you want to share, send it in to writemac.com and I'll give you my take. If you want to book a live coaching session, go for that too. The other thing that's going to be touched on in these two stories is dating someone you work with. Talked about this before. It's not the first time it came up, but it came up in this story. I think both stories they might be people they worked with. Um, if it can be avoided, it's best because you want to keep you want to keep your workplace separate. Because if shit goes down, that's your job, and you got drama brought in. You don't want to go to work. It depends on the type of workplace you have, and it depends on like how long are you going to be working there, right? Is this a career? But if you got, I've had clients before where they're in an office, like for example, if you work at like a medical clinic, and you've got doctors, nurses, and secretaries, and there's a lot of gossip that goes around. Everyone knows, and this person's married, this person's not. It could be hell, right? And there's someone in the office that's the main wire that has everyone's gossip, and you've heard them talk shit about other people. You don't want to be scared of people like that, but you don't want your dirty laundry being aired out at work. So the other thing is, if you do break up, then you got to see each other at work. So it's just one of those things. Look out. But on the flip side, if I'm going to play devil's advocate, it's a great alternative to dating apps. I've actually met a couple girlfriends that became girlfriends that were people I worked with, but I knew I wasn't going to work there long term. So it wasn't one of those things where like we're going to work together for the next 20 years, 15 years. So what's forever, right? So let's get into the first story here. This was just sent it today. Let's just timestamp this. 6:53 in. Alrighty. Okay, story begin. Hey Mac, so rewind a year ago, my ex broke up with me. I got shattered and had to rebuild myself. Wow, shattered is a strong word, isn't it? I used the pain as fuel, became the healthiest version of myself, and ended up getting a very good job promotion. Wow, it sounds like an adult Disney movie. Good for you. I've been watching your live stream since then and also watching your videos and wanted to thank you for all your great knowledge. Well, I appreciate the thank you. Here's my dilemma. I've been dating women since my ex broke up with me, and no woman has got me really excited. So, a year ago. So, you got a year, you've been doing some dating. First of all, I would say it's not the movies, and so it is possible for you to date for a year and not have a gold nugget appear. So, that's completely possible. On the flip side, good for you getting out there and going on bad dates and actually, experiencing dating. Because here's the thing. If you go out for a year and you don't meet someone that really excites you, right? But you've been dating, you're in training, right? You're taking some swings. And it's a lot better than you being on the bench and then saying, oh, I'm really interested in this woman. And then you haven't dated for a year. You're nervous. You're rusty. You don't know what to say. You don't know what to. People have come to me like that. They're like, I haven't dated someone in 5 years. It's like, wow. It's the same thing if someone said, I haven't exercised in 3 years. Okay, well, it's going to be tough to start, right? So you going on bad dates or not really getting excited, that's all serving you, right? Because you're picking up stuff along the way. So don't think it's lost time or wasted time. What I would say is I always tell people this. Look at where you're hunting. What are you hunting for? What are you looking for? And are those types of women, in your case, in those locations? Don't necessarily have to give up on what you're doing now, but reassess where you're meeting people and the environment that you currently live in and work in. Until I met this coworker of mine from a job I'm at, I'm currently building a gold mine, literally, working 12-hour days and living in a camp. Well, my hat's off to you. That sounds amazing. That sounds like a serious life experience, and I hope the gold mine strikes. This woman that works with me in a different department started to get very close with me from the beginning, but was pretty platonic from the get-go. But slowly after the last 3 months, we have been getting closer and closer until a few weeks ago she told me the reason why she is working here was because of me. Ah, wow. Maybe a strike gold twice. That little that lit a spark between us where we are openly flirty. Coworkers see this. She stares and smiles at me. That would be flirtatious. We are touchy with each other. That would be flirtatious. This means, translation, she likes you. I might even add she's ready, especially the touchy part, but nothing sexual. The kicker here is that she has been in a relationship for 6 years and their relationship has been on the rocks for a while. That's a big kicker, my friend. Um, you gotta what you gotta do is you gotta say, where are my morals and values? So I've been asked this before. Mac, what would you do? Would you date someone that is in a relationship but it's on the rocks or it's done? And I always answer this to anyone that asks me those things. I'm not you. So don't transfer my morals and values to you. For me personally, it's a no no. It's just, there's too many fish in the sea. There's a lot of drama. This is one of those things where I don't want to be the movie, right? I don't want to start dating you and end up in a fight over you in 6 months. I know it sounds really cool. I know that there's a lot of cool music videos that have this, the guy fighting over the woman and stuff like that. Um, and I look at it like, no. If you want to flirt and you want to believe that, but you just got to check your shit at the door and say, if she's doing that to this guy, I mean, where's her moral values at? If they're separated, where they live in separate houses, but they're still married, that's something you can work with. They're living together currently. You gotta, right now, being that you're flirty with each other, I'm okay with that. Some people be like, oh, that you could never do that. You're crossing the line. I'm okay with that. All right, I'm okay with that. Um, Maybe this one's, you're setting this up as, single A or double A ball until you get into the majors. That's fine. Call it your draft pick. But you need, but what you need to do is set the line of how far you'll go with it, and probably maybe have lunch rather than dinner, and the coworkers already know what's going on, and maybe you have to go, like, what's going on with the relationship. It's rocky, leaves a lot for interpretation. Okay? She is also working away from home from an extended period of time too. I understand that she isn't single, but we are obviously starting to have feelings for each other, but aren't acting on it. I haven't felt something like this in a very long time, to be honest. Well, part of it is you're working 12 hours a day in a camp, so it's kind of like being in the desert and someone offers you a cold glass of water and you go, "Wow, that's the best water I've ever had in my life." So it's probably elevates some things there. The fact that you guys, one thing that's nice when you meet someone at work is there's no pressure. This idea when someone meets someone on a dating app, there's a little pressure there, right? It's like, all right, how's this gonna go? I don't even know if I like this person yet, but we've already committed to being attracted to each other. There's these other variables. When you get attracted to someone at work, you kind of get to know them organically and over time, and so it's steady, it's built up, right? This is the first time I started falling for a woman that hasn't gotten sexual, and we truly building a healthy bond without judgment and accepting each other's flaws. Well, I'm just going to step in and say there is a little thread of unhealthiness with the fact that she's in a rocky relationship. And I think at some point, if you feel like you are building something, that have a sit-down lunch or a coffee and have that conversation, okay? Because to me, women are better poker players, right? A guy would have laid it all out already. Oh, we're gonna break up. Da, 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 da. She hasn't. You're conveying to me, yeah, they have a rocky thing going on. What does that mean, right? What does that mean? Because you're starting to fall for this woman. She's getting touchy feely with you when you're in a 12-hour camp, and you're getting excited, but you don't know what's behind door number 2. At this point of messaging you, I don't know how to navigate this feeling of what I should do. I cannot deny that both of us are enmeshing, and I truly feel like I can be myself around her. I started off slow, but now the last 3 months, Now at the 3 month marker of her knowing me, she wants to be around me all the time, even after work. She isn't trying to hook up with me at all, but I can definitely sense that she is into me by how much she wants to be near me, stares at me, touches me, and talks to me. Well, yeah, those are all things to key in on, and I'm sure your intuition's correct. Does that mean I should continue to stay flirty and innocent with her? Well, I don't know if this is all innocent with her and keep going on with my life. I don't know what to do. Oh, you got to do a discovery mission here. Like I said, there's got to be a point where you have that conversation, right? You don't go up to a woman and go, "Oh, are you with someone?" or something like that. You just ask them out or whatever. But in this particular case, you have a little bit of background. But correct me if I'm wrong. The gold mine's going to get built one day, and this sounds like a temporary job. So at some point, you want to have that conversation, and it might be a conversation that hurts or helps the relationship. But right now, you're in a holding pattern, right? So you need to know where she stands with that other relationship and why she's still in it, um, and have a sit down. Right now, you just flirt with each other at work. Talk at lunch or coffee, see where that's headed. But if you want to just be the playful friend and flirt a lot, women like those too. It's called cat pawing in my book. It's fun, right? It's validation. It's attention. So you got these feelings from her because there's some women that are very good at flirting just for attention, and I don't mean that in a negative way because there's guys that do it too, right? So I think it's much more common with women that they'll flirt for sport, and so like I said, you want to see what's behind door number two, and I wouldn't. I would ask some opening questions, such as what's the story with you and your relationship? Because I know we're both interested in each other. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to say because I never like to play that game. People sometimes have had in a live coaching session. Hey, hold on, I have her on text right now. I'm like, no, we're not doing this. No, come on, come on. I'm like, no. You still need to involve free will, right? I'm not the Yoda of texting your girlfriend or your date. You need to figure this out on your own. But I'll give you the map, the compass, and the waterproof matches in the woods, right? This one, though, here, I would say you got to explore it. It sounds like you got something here. The more you hold back, the more mystery you provide yourself, the more it's going to intrigue you. But at some point, you need to go to the next step. You got any thoughts on this, B?
Yeah, like you said, I think you got to figure out where she stands. Like you really don't know what's going on. You've only known her like what 3 months, I think. You've been working together, so that's not too long. And also, like you said, she could just be doing this for sport too. Like this could just be like an outlet. Like if something's going a little bit off in her marriage or whatever, this could just be a fun little getaway from that. So yeah, you got to figure out exactly what's going on. Like you said, a lunch or something. Just to do a little discovery mission. I like that.
And just to clarify from what he said, I don't want you to get hung up on the fact that, oh, she's just messing with me. Oh, she does. You think she's just a flirt? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's one. Right now we have multiple things because you don't have a lot of clarity on where she's at as a single person. And right now, because she's in a relationship and you work together, you can't just go, let's go out, right? So I'm just wondering if you're in a position, because I also don't really know the work atmosphere.
Right.
If you're in a camp and you're building a gold mine, maybe you don't have an opportunity to go to lunch. Maybe I'm being naive or ignorant to the fact of, an office place you can go to lunch, or you say, oh, I don't want everyone to see us go to lunch. At some point, it's got to be addressed on where she's at with this other relationship. And so you may be, saying, can we meet after work or something like that? I don't think that you'd be, like I said, that's a discovery mission. And then you can decide what your next step is once you find out that information. But I'm not saying that she's necessarily catpawing you, but it is a possibility.
Yeah, because that'll hurt later on if you develop these strong feelings and she's still connected to her husband.
Some people are just. You don't know. Some people I've worked in a variety of places. Some people, men and women, are just flirtatious little creatures,
right?
And that's just their nature. And they'll and someone will fall into that, and they'll be like, "Wow, I thought this was something."
Right.
Again, not saying that's the case.
Right. It could be. Right.
Could be. But keep me posted on this, and like I said, let me know if you do have a talk or you do have a coffee or lunch or something like that. But you need to get a little more information directly from the horse's mouth about this rocky relationship, because it seems like for how close you are and how much you're flirting, that hasn't provided a whole lot of details,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a 6-year relationship, and yeah, that's where you're at. Otherwise, if you want to take her word for it, and she says basically that they're done and they're not going to be together, then maybe that's up to you to decide what's the next step. As far as,
Could be enough. Yeah.
you don't want to flirt forever. Flirting for long periods of time when you work with someone, the window closes at some point. I know from my own, like, because I'm a flirt, right? And you'll think, oh, this is playful, this is fun, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, oh wow, someone will turn off the flirting. You're like, what? They met someone else that took the next step. That's what it is, actually. All right, so we got another couple stories on deck. We got 3 on deck, 5 likes. Thank you. Oh, I would like to join that. Okay. Hey Jen, how you doing? Nav, how you doing? Pull up this. This is actually a much longer story here. Let's see what time this one's. Timestamp it. All right. Can you go ahead and check on your phone the stream, how it's coming in? It says it's excellent right now. Just want to double check before I drop this one. Is it coming in all right? Cool. All right, so the next story is actually similar in the sense that someone broke up. Well, they say a long time ago, rather than you said a year ago. They're back out dating. They met someone else. A little bit different situation, but let's get into it. Hello, I've written to you before about a breakup a long time ago, years now, and you gave good advice, so here I am again. This isn't a breakup, more a dating question. I've been seeing this woman off and on for a year. We actually really had a good thing going right before the pandemic hit. I mean, I thought this woman would be moving in with me eventually, and I'm in my late 30s now and have only had 2 girlfriends live with me full time, so it's not something I do easily. We just clicked on all levels, attraction, connection, and I know I could trust her. Wow. I know these are the 3 pillars you mentioned in a relationship. It is true. Attraction, connection, trust. Yep. Um, so we knew each other through work before dating and always had a good connection there, but never pushed it into dating. Then I ran into her at lunch. We kind of took off from there. She was about 2 months out of a 1-year relationship with a guy that was highly insecure. And she was hurt by the fact that she couldn't fix him and annoyed. Also, he kept putting her down. So, have you ever dealt with a woman like that before? Secondly, it's kind of interesting that she's only 2 months out. 2 months out of a 1-year relationship. So the relationship, 1 year is pretty shallow. It's not very long. 2 months out, her talking about that ex, I don't have a problem with it because I like to talk about breakups. Some people don't like to talk about it. Some guys are like, I never want to hear about your ex or anything like that. I think it's okay for her to throw that on your lap a little bit and have you hear about it and tell you what she's been through. 2 months seems like a long enough period to be open to seeing someone. I would say this, if it keeps coming up again and again, it's a bit of a red flag. And I would wonder, is the guy still in the picture? Is he still texting? Is he still calling? And how is she treating those texts and calls? He says, I actually learned a lot from my breakup years ago. from your advice and all the research I did. So I felt I knew where she was coming from, and she didn't overdo it by talking about him. Okay, I felt she was clear on why they broke up and was even kind of scared of the guy. Well, that can bleed over into the new relationship. So the experience, whatever this guy did to scare her, I'm assuming that maybe he, came to the house too often. Doesn't sound like there was abuse here, or else you probably would have mentioned it. But just the fact that when a guy, this happens a lot, they break up and the guy comes to the house 40 times or calls 50 times, it starts to scare people because they're like, wow, are you listening to me? What'll happen, even though she knows that's not you, is you might do something similar and it might trigger things. So just be aware of that. So I never see this guy as a future. So I never see this guy as a future threat. And we were just getting along so well. We clicked on everything. We could even talk about our jobs with excitement as we were both teachers. So we geeked out on teacher talk. I honestly thought I could be with this woman long term. You said that once. Right before the first lockdown where we live, we were pretty much seeing each other every day for 3 weeks or so. So that's really early in getting close. But that's kind of like the best time, too. It's like, wow. You know what I mean? It's like seeing each other every day for 3 weeks. They've known each other a while. It's like our relationship had just kicked into the next level, like the beginning of the honeymoon phase. Here's the thing. I was also only a couple months removed from my relationship that ended for the right reasons. But we did live together, and the breakup wasn't easy for both of us. We still saw each other, and I was okay with that. I was spinning about 4 plates post-breakup. So you pivoted out of your breakup pretty cleanly. You're seeing 4 different women post-breakup. I felt good about that, and I was not committed to any, and they knew that. But this one I'm writing about was the real contender. I was willing to drop the other plates and go all in eventually. Then when the lockdown came, she had to teach online immediately and felt like it would be best if she stayed with her family for a few weeks. Those few weeks turned into months, and eventually she got trapped there. See, this is one of those things that's unique to the pandemic and COVID, which is timing and circumstances, right? I could easily see that you're in this honeymoon phase, everything's going right. Someone goes, oh, wait a minute, this just struck. I'm going to go see my parents or my family. A lot of people, when this thing hit, were like, I'm going to go stay with my family, even if they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s. A lot of people did, if their parents or their grandparents are older. Yeah, and they might have been requested by their parents. So, and by the way, that's a good intention thing to do. There's no regrets there. It sucks for you in the relationship, but it's not something to look down upon the individual for. No. Then when lockdown came, she had to teach online. Okay, so those few weeks turned into months, and eventually she got trapped there. We were never officially together, but something happened, and we just decided to cut ties. So you're not going to tell me what happened. That's up to you. But if you want to do a live coaching session, we can unpack that. So maybe that's embarrassing. I don't know. I wasn't too upset as there wasn't that much time invested. I accepted it and just moved on, but from time to time I'd wonder about her. Of course you did. If you were in a honeymoon phase and things fell off a cliff because of timing and circumstances of a job or the pandemic, you're actually in a really good position to go circle back to that relationship, because that individual is wondering about you from time to time too, because nothing that you did was wrong or salty or
It was all good.
It was all good, yeah. So basically, you're in a really good position if they ever want to come back. So when you say I accept it, you just got to leave it alone for now. You really do have to leave it alone. I'd wonder about her. Then out of the blue, she called me a few months ago and said that she got a new job, which was very close to where I live. I'm not surprised. We had a good talk, nothing too dramatic, no blaming or talking about the past. Then I asked her out, and she said she wouldn't have time to do that now. It was strange because I assumed she called to resume where we left off. Well, assumption makes an ass out of you, right? So I could see where you're coming from. Maybe at this point, she really is too busy. I don't know why when you wrote, why did you cut off ties? You're leaving a big part of the story out. So if I could, how you guys stopped talking originally, how that went down and why. I'd want to know. But um, to assume that she would just be willing to go out with you right away, if she says no, then you just got to be okay, fine. I mean, move on with it. No sweat off your balls. And the way our talk was going, she seemed happy to talk to me again. I just accepted that she was busy and we didn't talk again for a month. Well, good for you. The worst thing you could do would be like, oh, I thought you wanted to talk to me. Oh, I thought you wanted to go out. Why didn't you want to go out with me? Leave it alone.
Be super needy.
Yeah, exactly. Then out of the blue, she asked me to meet her for breakfast at a shop close to me. She gave me no notice. I was busy, so I told her I couldn't and we could meet up for dinner the next week. She replied she was too busy. Again, who knows? Maybe she's too busy. Now, this kind of impulsive calling or meeting up, is she a spontaneous, impulsive person and you're more organized and direct? This could be a part of her character that you didn't notice before. The other thing that it sounds like she wants things to be her idea or in her frame. Again, this puzzled me. If she wanted to go out, wouldn't she come up with a time or day she's available? Again, she could have just been in the neighborhood and, I'm thinking about you and I want to meet up. The fact that she didn't go out of her way to go, oh, I'm available Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, means that I think she's interested, but she doesn't want to put a lot of time or effort into it. I don't know what her job and her other parts of her life are, but it sounds like having a relationship isn't at the top. And that might not be personal. Again, this puzzled me. If she wanted to go out, wouldn't she come up with a time that she's available? Again, I left it alone, and again, she called me out of the blue to arrange a meetup again. This time I wasn't available for that time, and she said, oh, I guess it's just not meant to be. I found it dramatic. There's 7 days in a week, so recently I asked her through a text again. She said she was busy, but this time she came back with another time, and I accepted it. I accepted. So the number one thing you did is you didn't overreact to this, I would call it flightiness. She may really be busy. That's possible. I think that the fact that you're in a place where you're like, wow, we had this great thing going. Can we just pick up where we left off? Who knows what she's been doing in the meantime? I don't mean to get your imagination running, but maybe the relationship had more questions for her than it did for you, and so she's a little guarded right now. You'll know more once you meet up for dinner and see each other and are in each other's energy, right? It seems like she wants everything in her frame. I said that earlier, so I agree with you. The crazy thing is, it wasn't like this all the time we were seeing each other. So what's the hesitation? That's a really good question. Like I said, I don't know what happened and why you stopped talking originally. If you told me that, I could maybe know a little bit more. As I said, some people don't believe people are busy. They think like, oh, I'm not busy, so you shouldn't be busy. I will say this. There's a woman that comes on my live streams a lot, and she was saying before, like, and it's the simplest way to know when a woman's really interested. People say eye contact, smiling, women will show their neck. You've probably seen this be right on, it's so funny now because everything's on the internet, right? So if you want to look up, if I was to make a video and say, these are signs that a woman's interested, what would be the top 5? Smiling, eye contact, showing your neck. Have you seen this before? Because by the way, every guy's looked these up on YouTube, right? I think like 80 or 90%, right? Right? Yeah. And the other one would be like making contact with you, like punching you or putting their hand on your shoulder. I don't know. Is there any other ones?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any, but those are
eye contact, smiling, being interested in what you're up to, like asking you questions about your life. Is there anything? And we're in the live stream right now. What do you think? There's one way this woman sewed it up for me so well. In the live stream before, and she said this. What do you think it is? Before I say it,
I don't know.
It's not eye contact. It's not smiling. It's not. I'll show you my neck. Ha ha ha. It's not. Like those,
right?
It's not that. And there's actually one other thing that these attraction videos always say, where your feet are pointed.
Really?
Have you ever seen
I
that?
haven't seen that.
Oh man, when you see this and you start hanging out with people and
Yeah.
you observe it, it's fun.
You're looking for those.
Yeah, it's fun. Uh, if a woman has their feet pointed towards the door instead of pointed towards you, that means she wants to leave. She wants to get out of the conversation usually,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Another, yeah. So those are ones. Let's just see if the live stream came up with anything. What's up, Seth? Eduardo Martinez, how are you? Roller Girl. What do you guys think would be? We got a few females. Seth, Jen, Roller Girl. What would you think would be one thing that a woman will do if she's into a guy or likes a guy that will convey, hey, not necessarily I want you, but I want to date you. I want to see you. What do you think it is? And it applies to this story because it's exactly what she's not doing. That's what's confusing. Because it's a lot deeper, right? You can, when we talk about these eye contact, smiling, the hair twirling, that's kind of attraction. But
surface level.
Yeah. Answer. She will walk past him in a sexy way, says Roller Girl. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, a sexy walk would be conveyed differently for different people, right? Anything else? Sess, if you're on deck, or Jen, what do you think? You really like a guy. What are you gonna do to show him that you like him or you want to go out? Like in this case, this guy's saying, we had a thing going a year ago. You call me out of the blue. But then when I ask you out or you ask me out, you're never available. So like, what is this? It's like, women do it, man. Women do it to man at the gym. My man. Okay. I would say that one of the big things is if a woman really likes you, she'll make it easy. Now, I don't mean that in the bad way, but it applies to this story. And this woman said it in the live stream. She's like, look, if we really like you, if we really like a guy, we'll make it easy for him. There won't be breadcrumbs. There'll be giant signs. So my point is, the woman that's really interested wouldn't say, I'm busy. Actually, I'm available Saturday and Sunday. I can't. It wouldn't be like deny. Well, right? So I always found that interesting because it's simplistic, but it's true, right? And then it's a good way to gauge when you're dating or you're seeing someone because it's one thing to just get rejected. Because he's not just getting rejected. This is someone that he had a hot and heavy relationship with. He hasn't conveyed to me why they kind of stopped talking, but the pandemic, long distance, et cetera, hurt a lot of people. But the reality is, if she really, really wants to go out with you, she'll find a day or a time, and she'll be like, actually, you know what? We can meet for coffee. I haven't seen you in so long. This is what's a little fishy about the situation. And I don't blame this guy for sending this in because it's a little confusing. You guys are hot and heavy. You're serious. She's into you. It's great. She's back in town. My only question would be then, is she possibly seeing someone else? Or is there something that you missed where you're all in? You're thinking we're going to live together. And you had this great relationship, rose petals and wine glasses, but maybe she didn't see it that way.
What's her motivation?
But on the flip side, she's back in contact. So what I would say right now, she's dipping her toe in the water, and you're like, let's go for a swim, right? So you're on two different wavelengths. You still need to go out, but the one thing that you've handled beautifully is that you've never overreacted and be like, what's your problem? You're not available? You don't want to see me? I'm not enough? What's this shit? What's this? You just go, okay, you're not available. Did you want to meet sometime later in the week? She doesn't respond. Okay, because you leave that neutrality, and then you leave the door open. There's no angst. There's no pissiness. There's no, I'm gonna be angry at you. It's like, all right, whatever. And that comes from a guy that has other options. That's where that comes from, actually.
Yeah.
This guy said he was spinning 4 plates before. He's with, dating 4 other women. Some people don't like that term. If you're open about it and you're single and you don't want to commit, you can do it. You can do it. The catch to spinning plates and 4 plates, here's what people don't talk about. It's more work than you think, right? It's hard to, try spinning plates for a couple years. That's why people don't do it. It's exhausting probably, all right? So why isn't she making more of an effort? Good question. I don't know. I would just say this, short answer, you're a little bit more interested than she is. It could be she's trying to play a poker game. She read a book or saw something online and she wants you to chase. She wants you to fight for her. In that case, if that's not who you are or what you want to do, that could be the case. Right? There's women out there like, I want you to show more. I want you to show more. To me, I'm like, if you asked her out multiple times and she's just too busy to even give you an alternative date, that was my whole point. To make it simplified, someone should come up with an alternative or say, oh my God, I'm sorry, I can't make it that day. Let's do it another time. All right, should I just confront her and tell her I'm interested in a serious relationship with her and cut the games? No. Actually, no. No. Because it's almost like an ultimatum. It's kind of like, right now you have a little bit of mystery to the situation, challenges in regard. She's wondering about your intentions too. This is actually a good little cocktail to start your relationship again, possibly. You going all in and going, hey, wait a minute. You haven't committed to going out with me, or it's too much, too quick. It's abrasive, and it sounds like this woman won't be receptive to that. So that's you being impatient, and it would be unattractive. So that's a good question to ask, and I would say stay in your frame, stay okay with the no. That's the thing. When someone says no to a date, it's like, okay.
Be okay with it. Yeah.
Okay. And that just conveys, I have other options. I'm okay. I'm not a psycho. I won't hurt you.
Yeah.
I won't knock on your door 100 times.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. And it sounds like she's had one of those before. So maybe this is her little shit test. Like, let me see if this guy's a psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just cat paw him around a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? And it's what you got to do is keep going, okay, fine. And then eventually meet up. But what do you have to lose when you say, oh, you're not available? So now I do believe he said that they are meeting up, though. It said there's 7 days in a week. So recently I asked her to out through text. Again, she said she was busy, but this time she came back with another time and I accepted. So be sure to send in your next story because you're gonna learn a lot when you go out this time. What do women do, man, my man. Women walk past my man back and forth, prancing, trying to get his attention. After trying a few times, move on. Walks. So walks count, huh?
That's pretty direct, though.
A strut.
Yeah.
It is true though that I guess wouldn't you say that the way someone's body language is in a walk would convey different things to different people? There's a TED Talk by Amy Cuddy that's really good about body language, and it's so true, especially now. Like how many of us crunch over and stuff like that, myself included with the mic.
Being on computers and
yeah,
all day.
Yeah, and how much, basically all of nature.
Well, when you open yourself up, right?
Yeah,
that's like.
But in this video that she was showing birds, different animals.
Yeah,
they all do it.
Yeah.
And widen themselves up. The cobra. Right? So.
Because that's like a more confident position.
Yeah, but she's saying that women, the hip sway.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you what's like a pet peeve of mine is whenever I've met women that like drag their feet in flip flops.
Oh, like making the scraping.
Yeah. That to me is like, oh God.
Yeah.
Like stop, and their flip flops are like, and they're dragging them. It's like they just got their toenails done or something. Like they're trying to be delicate, and you're just like, oh my goodness. Chuckster, what's up? How you doing, bud? Roller girl puffed up. Puffed up, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess women do it too, right?
I think it's just like
Especially if they got twins.
trying to showcase.
Yeah,
a little
right.
bit, yeah.
I would say yeah, that would probably be. But there's all kinds of things to that body language thing.
It's more confident, like you're showing yourself.
But the funny thing is, like I said, we talked about it just a few minutes ago. You can look this stuff up, right? Like the how can you tell a woman's attracted to you or something like that. And there's tons of videos on it. But then like go to a cafe and watch people.
Yeah. People watch, do a little people watch. Yeah.
And you'll notice some of the things that they told you about,
Uh-huh.
right? And you're like, oh yeah, okay.
Makes sense, yeah.
But there's one that if you put your feet like your feet like this, not all your legs crossed,
Mm-hmm.
that they say that's when a woman has a boyfriend or a husband when they're talking to you. And I was like, I've seen that before. Just their feet are crossed when they talk to you, and they're like dangling.
Okay.
A lot of people sit that way.
Yeah.
A lot of women sit that way. It's like they have something to hide, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, another thing is if you've ever seen, if there's a couch or, with pillows, have you ever seen when a woman sits down and puts the pillow over her
Mm-hmm.
stomach or her
Yeah.
areas?
Yeah.
That's directly saying I'm not interested or I'm scared of
I'm
you.
covering up.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's another one. That's another one. Is there anything else is there anything else you guys want to throw in on here? Because isn't it funny? Women don't usually ask like, how do I know if a man's attracted?
It's a little bit more direct. Yeah.
Is it just that obvious when a guy looks at you and the way he looks at you that he's interested? Right? And you just don't get where guys will be like, I don't know, man. I'm not sure if I think she likes me, but when she was touching her neck. My girl ex is doing this crap right now, hot and cold beyond belief. She says she's done with me and I'm never texting or contacting you again, only to reach out after I back away. Jadism. Can you elaborate, Coach? Can you elaborate, Jadism? Jadism? Where are you at in the world, Jadism? And what's the age of you and your ex? Let me just get a little bit of a temperature read. Let me also ask you this, Jadism, as a quick temperature read. Is that a pit bull in your picture there? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your attraction to this woman? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your connection? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your trust with this woman? Sess P, good to hear from you. We gotta have a session soon. I miss you, hun. If a woman licks or bites her bottom lips when you're talking, could be a good sign she likes you.
I think that's a good one. Like playful with her lip, absolutely. Bites it, yeah. Like that's a definite flirtatious.
Yeah.
Signal.
There's some biters out there too.
But I think that one's pretty direct.
Sess, is that something that you would do? Isn't it funny when people give examples and they're like, that's what some people do, and it's like, are you saying that's what you do?
Yeah.
And that's one of those things you could just, if you're not confident, you can go, oh, I guess she's just licking her lips or doing that, right? I would say the other thing is if you go out on a date and you can tell the woman really put in effort.
Yeah.
Like the perfume's really strong.
Right.
I'm like, did you have to put half the perfume on your face? Have you ever? What's one that gets me is when a woman wears some kind of perfume that you don't like. Have you ever had that before? Oh.
Where it's just like
or deodorant. I don't know what it is. I've had it a couple times where I'm like, God, that's a bad scent. I'm not a sensitive smeller, but I'll just be like, yeah, I don't know if it's like a little sweat got mixed in there. You know what I mean? I don't know. And I'm not talking about like, these women aren't like not cleanly or anything like that, but I'm just like, that's an ugly scent. I would say that I don't, living in the tropics, I don't think as many people wear cologne here or perfume. But I've gone out on a couple dates where I'm like,
too
What
much.
are you wearing so I can tell you not to buy that again?
Yeah. I've been where it's been too overpowering, like
Like
maybe
just,
maybe just too much like on, not necessarily where I didn't like it, but it was just like, oh man, it's just strong.
but I have at other times. Like today, I was at the gym and that hit class I told
Yeah.
you I did, and so
Yeah.
like it's like 5 other women. It's just me. Well, no, there's another guy there too. But I was tying my shoes next to this woman. I thought to myself, God, you smell good. Before the gym,
Yeah.
I felt like saying, and then I went, no, I'm not gonna make her uncomfortable right before we all work out in
Yeah.
a group and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I just held it back. I didn't have my coffee yet. I felt like I could keep my thoughts to myself, but that was let me write that down, hon. That's a nice scent. Let me take a note on that. You smell great. Seems like some women treat showing their butt cheeks is the same as what cleavage used to be. Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
100.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, aren't they getting butt bags now?
It's way more common.
Oh yeah.
I think like the Kardashian, thing.
But women
absolutely.
get ass surgery, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's funny because I mean, I like a thick woman myself. I appreciate it, right? But there's some guys that just find it repulsive. So it's not for everyone, right? But now it's just it's definitely out there right now. I don't mind it, roller girl, but I do think this might sound, but it can be done tastefully and it can be like okay.
Overboard. This is yeah.
I will say this though, I don't know if I want my girlfriend doing that all the time, but there's also a line to that too.
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't say, hey, you can't do that.
No.
But
Sure.
if it's she's wearing like a thong in the coffee shop, that might be a little heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the line?
Yeah. Where's your line?
Jihadism 9, 10, brother. Okay, on everything. I'm 36. She's 46. Wow.
10 years.
Wow. He's in LA. You're in Cali.
But the attraction, the trust, they're all up there, all in the 10 range.
This actually sounds like a client of mine. Are you someone that's talked to me before? Because I have a client in LA that has a relationship with someone in this age range too. So I'm just curious. I'm like, is this so and so? So let's just go over what he said again. My girl ex is doing this crap right now, hot and cold beyond belief. Says she's done with me and I'm never texting, contacting you again, only to reach out after I back away. Sounds pretty immature for a 46-year-old.
She's playing games a little bit.
Yeah. I got a lot of juice today. We're 53 minutes in. I don't have any coaching clients lined up in the afternoon. Do you want to call in? Are you feeling bold? Jihadism. We'll unpack this right now. Just because you're from Cali. That's my Amstaff Deckard. R.I.P. Thanks, Coach. I'm sorry to hear that. Amstaff Deckard, that's a dog? Hanging out if they're Daisy Dukes. Daisy Dukes is an old school term from the Dukes of Hazzard, right? Or if you compliment a girl, like if you say, I like your hair up or something, if you wear it down normally, then she starts wearing her hair like that around you, she likes you. Thanks, Sess. Well, that's making it simple, right? Like I said, I think it's making it. I think that there are when you're trying to complicate attraction, and try to look for you should know intuitively like this person likes me. I will say this: when I was a wee young chap in my 20s, I was blind to it sometimes. I'll tell you that for sure. I remember. Told this story before, I think. But I remember I worked, I lived in San Diego. And I worked with this girl. She was really pretty. And we were cool and worked with a lot of women where I worked. So we flirted, we hung out. But she had a boyfriend, I think. But I was seeing some other women. I had other things going on. So it wasn't a big deal. But I remember I moved back to San Francisco. And she called me within 2 days, and she's like, "You really moved. You did this. You did that." And in that moment, I went, "Wow, she really did like me." And guess what? The window had closed. And I will say this: now that this is an interesting topic, actually. Now that like things have changed. Why aren't women? If you really like a guy, I tell women sometimes, no shame in being a little more aggressive.
A little more upfront.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like making a move, or
Yeah.
if the guy like society and different like that particular girl, like I wasn't surprised, but if I would have known she really liked me, I was like I think I was like 22, 23. Maybe things would have been different. But when she called me, it was like she lost someone.
Right.
You really left? Oh God! Like I was like, wow, hon. We hung out at the beach a couple times, but I didn't know it was that deep, right? And that was one of those things. Like I said, here's one of those things about someone that has a boyfriend that you work with, because that was in the stories today. In one of the stories today. Number one, if I meet him and I shake hands, then I can never play that game. Like that's dirty. I've had friends that do that shit and laugh about it, and I just think low character. But if I've never really met them before, I don't know your situation. It seems like you're on and off again. But like looking back at this one, we never did anything, but we went to lunch a few times, like work lunches and stuff like that. And she never talked about the guy. Right?
That kind of tells you something.
Nothing. I might as well that she was with no one.
Right.
She mentioned him a few times, and I'm one of those. I'll never talk shit about someone I just don't even know.
Right.
Like if you have a boyfriend or you have I don't even know the guy. I'm not gonna talk shit. But or that's just a low blow. But I just remember actually we went out to lunch quite a bit, and this is one of those things when people say you can't be friends with a girl. You can be friends with a girl. You can be friends with a woman if that's up to you. And you can also be friends with a woman you're attracted to that you might want to hook up later on. I don't think that's bad. As long as you're not one of these desperate people where that's your only option and you're getting bitter when they're out with someone else. That's the difference.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
Do you feel like you could be friends with a woman that you work with?
Yes, definitely.
And I could be attracted to him in short bursts, right? But it depends on where you work. Like workplaces I've worked at, I've worked with a lot of women before. So that's, you go out to lunch or you do something like that. But yeah, the idea like a lot of guys will say, well, you want to hook up with them eventually. It's not on your mind 100% of the time. But yeah, you think about it. But if that's your goal or that's where you're headed with it, then no, you can't do it. But if you look at it like, yeah, maybe down the road we'd hook up or something like that, might be a bonus. Okay, cool. They're thinking it too, if they're attracted to you at all. But my point is, if you have other options or you have some value, it's not that big a deal. But if someone has like a boyfriend, right? They usually hang out a little less if they're happy. If they're unhappy, they tend to look out for friends more often. Roller Girl says, yes, you can be friends. It happens to me all the time because I work with a lot of men. Yep. Chuckster says, you should tell them not to put too much of that shit on because it's flammable. Then you look like a protective hero.
Yeah.
Man. I didn't know that was flammable. Really? Good thing I don't smoke cigarettes, I guess. But that's like one of those things you want to say, like, what? You're like, what did you put on today? Can I just tell you the truth and tell you to go take a shower?
Yeah.
And just put on a nice soap?
Get that stuff off.
Ugh. Oh. Well, here, too, we have, where I live, we ride motorbikes and stuff like that, right? So it's like you're instantly close, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You're close instantly. Like, you go out on a date, you're like, get on, huh?
And then, oh, man, what did you put on?
Yeah. What is that scent so I can tell someone not to buy it? It's the worst thing I've ever smelled in my life. You smell putrid.
I think guys are, when they, because like I'll be in a coffee shop or something behind a guy. I think that's way more common with guys.
What,
putting on
BO?
the cologne or
Oh,
something.
cologne.
Yeah, like huge amounts of cologne. I'm like, oh my god, dude, it's reeking.
Yeah. I mean, I guess everyone has their own. We've talked about colognes and perfumes before on the live stream before, but I mean, I guess everyone has their own stuff that they like.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this: just take a note if you wear a scent, how many compliments you get. Like there is one that I wear all the time, not all the time, only when I'm like gonna go out to something special because you don't want to wear cologne all the time. I guess if you're like, it depends on what you're doing, but I always get a compliment on it. Actually, what's your go-to? Do you have a go-to cologne?
Polo. I have a
Classic green polo.
Yeah. There's also a Calvin Klein one.
Mine's Obsession, Calvin Klein, the old school one.
I like that.
Yeah, it's like from the '80s, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I actually dated a woman, and she was like, "I want to find that. I want to find that." She couldn't find it over here. I was like, "I'm sure you can order it online or something." But you should be getting some compliments on that, I think.
But I put it on light too. Like I try not to go.
Oh yeah, 2 sprays. 2 sprays. That's it for sure.
Walk into it.
2 sprays. That's it. Chuckster, Sess, P, Roller Girl. You guys got any questions in particular? Jaws, Dism, the hot and cold thing. Do you want to be a caller or do you want to send in your story right now? I'll unpack it. But I would say that going back to this hot and cold beyond belief, if that's her way of being in a relationship, that sounds like it sounds like a game, and you're 36 and she's 46. Sometimes when you first start a relationship, it's a poker game. What sucks about breakups sometimes is you go from being what's the whole point of being together? Let's stop playing games and be official. Right? Let's just be honest. We both really care about each other and love each other. Let's put up with each other's shit, and we don't have to keep looking around for someone else. And you're pretty good to me. Like, let's not play games anymore. You break up, and it's like, you want to play some poker again? So this is when you've been together for a while, and someone comes to me like years. I tell people, don't play too much poker because you know each other too well. You know your bluffs. You know everything. They know everything about you. But someone that's doing that, they're usually, what I would say to it is they're usually trying to win whatever argument or get what they want with hot and cold behavior rather than communicating real talk. They're going, oh, you're leaving me now? Well, let me show you some attention. I'll get you back. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're showing me a lot of attention. Let me push you away. And if you respond to that and reward it, then they'll do it again and again because people do what gets them results for what they want. The difference is people want different things. But don't end up being, like, oh, why does she keep doing this to me? Figure out the playbook, dude.
Every time she needs attention and you're right there, she's just going to keep.
I would say, though, that if that's the form of relationship that you have right now, it's probably not going to change. I would say that she'll probably, did she do that in the relationship? All right, I did have a quick video that I'm gonna drop on one of these YouTube shorts and on Instagram today, but this came in as a question. Coach, I need your help, man. I broke up with my ex 2 months ago. We went out 2 days ago and had a good time and even hooked up. Then I asked her, had she been with anyone else since me and her broke up? She asked why I had to ask that. Translation, I have been with someone else. I said, I just want to know. Translation, you probably don't want to know, but curiosity killed the cat. She then asked me the same question. I immediately lied, LOL, and said no one. So you want the truth, but you're not giving the truth. She responded with, I know you're lying. So right away we can identify that you don't trust each other. This might have contributed to why your breakup happened. I asked her again. She said, "Look, I've been on a couple dates, and I'll leave it at that." What a clean response. That's it. That's so clean.
Yeah.
That's like, I'll tell you the truth, but I'm not going to tell you everything.
Yeah.
I'll let you think about that and worry about it. I don't think I have to give you the details. She doesn't, because you guys were broken up for 2 months. That's the danger when you start dating, especially because guys want to know. Hey, have you been with someone else, right? I have a right to know. You do, but do you really want to know? And if you were dating a woman that that's highly attractive or works with a lot of other guys, there's a good chance that the hyenas were at the scene of the crime, wounded on the savannah, and that's the difference. I've said this before. A woman breaks up. She's crying. She's upset. She's emotional. The wolves will come out and go, "Hey, what's wrong? Hey, did you want to go to lunch?" Or, "Hey, like this later on." Like, guys will be all over it. It's like, "Oh, she broke, blood in the water." A guy comes to work like that. It's not attractive to the women at work.
No.
Maybe I've had one client before. The guy was like early 50s. His wife and him were married for 20 years. They hadn't slept together in like 4 years, separate rooms, all this other stuff. But this guy had a really good job, went to the gym, high value dude. And the thing about it is he wasn't that sad, but he immediately had a couple women interested. He was like, "I don't even know what to do, man." I'm like, well, because he had been so neglected by his wife for so long. But I don't think I have to give you details. I let it go, but it's been eating at me all day. We are going out tomorrow. Don't you think I have a right to know? Will this blow up us getting back together? I don't think you have a right to know. I think you have a right to ask.
Sure.
I think there's a difference.
Yeah. It's up to her whether she wants.
I think you have a right. I think you have a right to ask. Careful what you wish for, but I would also say that if you're gonna lie to her, you open up the question for her to ask you. You lied. She doesn't believe you. LOL. You wrote. So the question becomes, what are you chasing here? You're expecting truth, but you're not giving it. So this will blow you up getting back together. Yeah, if you make a big deal out of it. And if she went on other dates and she doesn't want to tell you the details. Rita Rose Hubblesworth, New York's finest, also did some time in Paris. So do you recommend actually full stop telling a dude that digs you how you really feel? A transparency conversation? I mean, Rita Rose, what do you mean? What's the difference between the DTR, that and a DTR combo? What's DTR? What do you mean by that? So do you recommend actually full stop telling a dude that digs you how you really feel? So what are you saying, Rita Rose? Like, you don't like him or you do like him? I'm confused. Give me a little bit more details, hon.
Well, either way, I guess.
Look, most guys like directness.
Sure, because they don't usually get it.
They like rational,
Yeah.
direct stuff. They don't like to try to figure it. You know how many times I've had women like, "I wish he just could figure it out. I don't want to have to tell him." I'm like, "Nah, tell him."
Guys are like, "No, tell him exactly what to do."
I got a client like that in New York. Great woman from Queens. She's got gusto, man. I'm like, damn. I'll never forget. We're having a live coaching session. She's getting like, "Fuck that!" Like, oh, I'm like, "Look, I'm on your side, hun. Relax." But I would create these situations where I'm like, actually, let me ask you this or let me ask you that, because sometimes you're just on emotion about what you want and winning a fight, right? And she respects me enough and knows that I'm there to help her. But man, she got up and going. I was like, wow, I won't want to get in an argument with you. But one of her things was, "I wish he just knew. I wish he just knew." And I'm like, this guy, you got to tell him. Tell him what you want. Tell him what you're thinking. You guys have been together 2 years, this, that, the other. And if he doesn't respond, maybe he doesn't want to do what you want to do. Rita Rose says, funny, because I'm in the same field, social circle with dude, and folks start trying to be up in the beeswax, and the dude I like hates the scene if it's gossip vultures. God, Rita Rose, didn't this happen to you before? Rita Rose has come on the live stream before. Rita, you know I have a good memory. I believe you were dating a guy that came out that he was gay, right? That's a tough one. It's actually not that uncommon. I think it's not blasphemy.
No, I've heard it. Definitely heard it.
Right? Funny because I'm in the same field social circle with dude, and folks start trying to be up in the beeswax, and the dude I like hates the scene, and it's gossip vultures. So is there a way? All right, so let's unpack this, Rita Rose. Is there a way that you can get out of that scene where you can maybe have dinner at your place? Right? You like the guy. You know you like the guy. I believe, if I remember correct, you're late 30s. There's a certain age range where you're allowed to be aggressive.
Sure.
You're allowed to, convey feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I've talked about this before. I don't know if it's, there's this saying that the way to a man's heart is his stomach. The way to a man's head is probably intimacy. Now, some people might get really upset about that, but I think it might be true. I've witnessed it many times, right? You're like, right? How did he end up with her? I could tell you why.
Well.
The amount of guys that are in bad relationships with women that aren't very kind to them, and then you unpack it, you unwrap everything, and it comes to the intimacy is outstanding. It's like, wow, okay, that's why you deal with this stuff, right?
Carries a lot. For sure.
It does, actually. So I would say that, what are you planning? Rita Rose, look, I feel this, and this about you. Have you guys hooked up yet? Where are you at with that? And why can't you go out in some private kind of situation with and would you, if the group did know, what's up with people gossiping though? I don't think I've been in that situation. Feelings are strong enough though; they will prevail. Yeah. And I'm going to add, if you guys have some good intimacy at some point, the gossip won't matter.
It won't matter at all.
Right? He'll be sitting with his feet kicked up while they're talking, going, "Yeah, no problem.
Whatever.
We had a great night last night." Chuckster says the way to a man's head is head. Oh, snap. Co-hosts implied women are indirect. Boom. Controversy. Rita, stop going to bars, Lindertube says. I almost said lube tube, sorry. If a guy doesn't cave unless you put the pressure on, he's not that into you. I don't know the situation, though. I haven't had that situation where I had because when you say you're in the same field, social circle with someone, right. I look back to when high school, maybe post high school, 2021, and you're a little insecure because inside the group. But I will tell you this: it's always the dude that doesn't give a shit that gets the most women, right, in the group. It's always the other person, and I might add, the woman that gets the most guys, it's the same thing. They don't care what people think about them. Sure. Right? Mm-hmm. The double standard, but they're thought about in different ways, right, supposedly, right?
Definitely.
Different results, mm-hmm, same results. Same results for sure. We got 13 on deck, 6 likes. If you want to donate, donate. If you don't, if you got questions, drop them. Are you a Ratner or a Simone? I don't know what that means. I don't know. It's an inside joke. Oh, God, that's horrible, Roller Girl. I don't even know if I can repeat that. in AA, women like that get preyed on. I'm not even going to say the words. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I know the movie. I don't remember the lines.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember the lines. It's interesting now, like when you start a relationship like that, and you're like, so Rita Rose. It sounds like you guys are kind of friends, but you're interested. And then what I would say though, he probably knows. He probably knows that you have interest. I will say this: maybe he's not. Maybe he's not interested. Is he seeing other women?
Yeah. What's
Yeah,
going on?
because I've had situations where. Thanks, Roller Girl. I've had situations where there's girls that are friends or something like that, and people ask you why or why not. You might just not that interested, or you're seeing someone else, but you can tell that they might be more interested in you. But that goes back to, you know what gets lost, and I've talked to women about this before in coaching. Seduction.
The Art of Seduction.
The Art of Seduction. It's a book, right? But the book actually by Robert Greene, who's a great author. I don't really like the book. It's way too categorized. He has all these labels. It's a little bit it's a little bit complicated.
Convoluted.
I mean, I think seduction's probably easier for women than it is for men.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
How you dress? I could know. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going out and a woman dresses a certain way, doesn't that say a lot? It's an expression. I mean, I think that's seduction in itself. I mean, I've even heard you before be like, "Did you see what she was wearing?"
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
Right? It's like she actually wears. It's like that could be very seductive. And I don't know if language needs to be even put in that place. How much do you have this guy on the hook? Is this formal work relationship? If he's not pursuing, he's got other options. Thank you, Roller Girl. I appreciate it. Yeah, seduction's underrated, I think. I mean, and now, like I said, if you're the woman and you like the guy, you can be a little aggressive.
Step it up.
You're completely allowed to. Guys aren't offended by it. I would say that, especially if you were friends first or you think there's a gray area, having like a discussion about it might be a little bit of a turnoff for some people.
Yeah, actually,
just go for the kill. just going for the gusto. Making the selection out of all your choices is more difficult for women, though. I mean, let's say this. Rita Rose, if you're still on, if I didn't scare you away with all this talk, I apologize. Had too much coffee this morning, got a lot of juice. So, the other thing is, people don't talk about this a lot, right? But when you date or you're seeing someone, have you ever had a situation where you got intimate, you slept together the night before, and then you go, oh no, that's not happening again? Because it just wasn't good, or it was beyond good, it was uncomfortable.
Right. Or there wasn't
it was uncomfortably bad.
Yeah.
There was no rhythm to anything.
Right.
No one talks about it that much. But like,
yeah, you don't like to talk about it.
It's actually a process of elimination, because sometimes you can do that and you're like, wow.
You're just not like compatible or whatever.
I remember one time I had a headbutt.
One of those situations.
We were going in different directions, and bam! It was like, bam! I was like, and she's like, sorry, and I'm just like, it's okay. It's like a comedy movie. Yeah,
like
I'm dead. I remember it too. I remember it was just like we were just completely off, and you can't like, oh yeah, let's just get started again. It's like no, I just got headbutted. Yeah.
concussion type of things.
Right? People don't talk about
No,
that.
you don't want to
I've
talk about your.
I've heard about. This is bad. There was a there was a friend of mine's parents that I guess they were open about it. I don't know, but the guy and his wife were doing it in the garage, and he missed and got the cement
Uh-huh.
and injured himself severely. I was like, and this kid would tell everyone, "Oh yeah, my dad had to have like surgery done and stuff like that, skin graft and all this shit," and like would tell the story. And I was just like, Jesus, that's scary.
That's scary. Oh wow.
Makes me want to set up like a mink fur mat underneath.
Yeah.
Get a chinchilla intimacy mat underneath the bottom. Rita Rose says, DTR, define this relationship. So you would say, so Rita Rose, you're back. A cat you do like and have been dating. Here's the thing. What's dating to you? So I've had people say, "Oh, we've been dating," and then I'll say, "Oh, so do you have a boyfriend?" Yeah, I have a boyfriend. We're dating. Dating to me is different than
To me, it's just like casually kind of going.
All right,
out
so but is dating like you slept together yet?
Yeah, I would say. I don't know. I guess it depends. But for me personally, I mean, I would still consider it dating, depending on the situation.
If you've been dating, you've been sleeping together, and then I would add, what's the interaction afterwards?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Is that Rita Rose? Is there a quick getaway, or is there breakfast in the morning? Is there?
Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah. Right. So I think that a guy will let you know where we're supposed to have a talk this weekend. The fact that you need to have a talk. Do you think your feelings are higher than his? That's a direct question from me. And I would also add, where is he at in his life? He could be, if he's worried about the gossip vultures and all that. I mean, if you've been dating and you're together, if someone wants, you get to a certain age, you're together or you're not together. You're at a point right now where you're bringing it up like you want to be more. You want to be, official. Now, there's a lot of men out there that hold out on that. There's a lot do, and it might just be timing.
Just different situations.
Yeah. I've been in situations where I'm like, I don't want a girlfriend right now.
Just not.
Because a lot of times it's you had a bad breakup, or you just were in a long-term relationship for 10 years, 6 years, and you're just like, I don't want to do it for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
So it can't be all personal. Oh my goodness, Rita Rose. Rita Rose says, now the gay dude I dated is in my band. Well, at least you know where he stands.
No games being played there.
What does it mean though? Like, what is it if you say someone you're dating? Is that just someone you want? Because is that someone you see regularly? Is that like how often are you together and how long have you been together? Because there's, like I said, there's a lot of guys out there that would like to keep it that way.
Right.
So if the excuse is the gossip vultures, that might just be a way of him saying, I like the way it is right now.
Just convenient.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. The real clarity will come when you cut off and you go, all right, we're not this. I know this guy, the dude I like for 15 years. We both work in the industry. Well, you know him better than I do then. You know why he's not being official or he wants to be official. You know it, right? So 15 years, you should have some clarity on this guy. I would say that it's timing, though. It's timing where someone's at. But I've noticed if this guy's in his late 30s, 40s, and he's been married before or he's had some long-term relationships, guys like that tend to not want to be official, and they want to take more time with it. So
they've already experienced.
They want to keep their options open.
Yeah.
It's not personal. Get some leverage, show the ability to walk away and pull back your interest and see what happens. Linder tube. That I would say that if you pull away, then he'll know how much he misses you. Sure.
Yeah, you'll get some clarity.
The gossip kind of bothers him because my ex from way back is his mentor. Oh, that's weird.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay. Here's what you got to come back to, Rita Rose. What do you really want? Do you really want this guy long term? Do you want a long term relationship with a guy that's not like him or a guy that's like him? So sometimes what we do is we get stuck in a reactive mode. Well, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. They did this to me. I'm not saying this about you directly, but I'm just giving you an example. But we don't stop. And I have to do this in my own life now and go, hey, coach, what do you want? Right? It's the number one thing to come back to again and again. You start complaining about shit. You start not liking the situation. What do I really want from this? Because sometimes when you ask that question, it's surprising that you want something that's not possible with that person or not realistic. So you're evading that reality because you don't want to deal with it. So then you find ways to cut them down, or you find ways to complain. You gotta, like, do you want this person as a long, like, can you look at it and go, can I be with this person long term? And do I want a long term thing right now? I've known her for 15 years. Do I want to be with him long term? So ask yourself some direct questions, and the answers you get are probably correct. And what's your intention in this relationship? Is it to have a long term thing? Is it, to be married one day? And then ask yourself, is this the kind of person that could fulfill that intention? Show the ability to walk away and pull back your interest and see what happens. All right. Chuckster, tried to seduce the nurse doing my thyroid ultrasound today with the eye contact and the confidence. Didn't seem to work, but then as I was being rolled back out, I realized my wee-wee was peaking, I'll just say. Okay. Well, I'm sure she's a nurse and she's seen it all before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a nurse or a doctor like that, you think, oh my God, and it's like they've seen about 1,000 sets of balls in their life, probably, dude.
Maybe more.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not even a big deal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to the doctors before, and you have to do something like that, and you're like, you pull down your pants, and they're just like, they're ready, and you're just like, wow, you're not even uncomfortable about this. All right, I'm comfortable if you are.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, sweet, right on. And then you think to yourself, wow, how many times has that happened today, huh? That's why they wear gloves. 2-1 was mortified. They don't cover the situation in the books. I don't know what that is. 3, any advice? I don't know if that's the second part of the story. They don't cover that situation. You shouldn't be mortified if a nurse sees your private part. The gossip kind of bothers him. Okay, so this is some dynamic, but these dramas are largely insignificant. Either he values the energy and interest equally or not. Some guys too, like, it takes time to, people have different paths towards getting to a point where they want to love and be official and do those kinds of things.
What happened in the previous, relationships and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So
Yeah. 13 on deck, 7 likes here. We're getting to that point, hour and a half in. Like I said, if someone wants to do a call-in, if you're feeling frisky, Rita Rose, I'll let you call in right now from New York. We can put you live, put you on the map. Chuckster. plan is to do live streams every Wednesday and every Saturday coming up. I've made these commitments before only to break them because coaching sessions come up in between.
2 days seems more doable though, right?
It is. I would do it every day if I could.
Yeah.
I would do it every day. Some interesting stuff unpacked today, though. Very interesting stuff, Chuckster. Yeah, the nurse probably just went, "Oh, seen that before." That's not the first one of those I saw.
It's just a Tuesday.
I must, darling, sending love until next time. It's possible this person has options and reservations about getting emotionally involved for some reason. What's most likely in this case? Rita Rose is just laughing and crying. Crying or laughing? Crying, laughing.
Crying, laughing.
Hysterical.
Yeah.
You know what I always think that recently we have all these dating apps. Roller Girl, have a good evening. Thanks for contributing. Thanks for the donation. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yep. Is how they're, all these dating apps, right? If I had to start something, I would do matchmaking. But you
Like
have to
someone
charge a lot
yeah.
because it's way more stringent, right? But I've had people ask me because I've actually had a few times where I'm like, oh shit, this girl that just broke up with, yeah, and they're like in the same city, and I'm like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Do you want me to recommend? Like, plus when I do a coaching session, it's in FaceTime or Skype, so I don't see your whole body or how you look per se, but face to face, whatnot. But I go, oh wow, this would be a nice person for you to meet. I just had it recently, and I thought, it's kind of might be, yeah. But I think that now with dating apps, people have so much issues with them, that matchmake. But you know what? I don't know if I would want someone to matchmake me. I'm thinking to myself, I wouldn't do it.
Your own,
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in that.
Well, it puts you in a position where it's like, oh yeah, so and so fixed us up, so it must be right. So it almost puts more pressure, and then you're like, you thought she was pretty?
Right.
Like, you don't know my taste. That would be the hard part, Chuckster. Is that what I think is cute or attractive or good for you? I don't know, because I think that we lose track of how intricate people are attracted to different people, right? Sure. But going back to Rita Rose, it's like Rita Rose. It sounds like you have a social circle and different people, and one thing that gets lost is you get more attracted to people that are familiar. I've talked about this before. Is that the banana leaves growing? That this is why if you go to work every day and you become more attracted to someone, it's because they're familiar, they're safe, you know them. That adds something to that, right? That's like when you're dating, you gain more feelings from familiarity. So like when you go on a matchmaking thing, it's hard, and dating apps are hard because of that reason. But God, when I talked to this one woman recently, and I know this other guy, I'm like, oh man, I'd really like to introduce them. But then on the flip side, I'm like, oh, I introduced him, and she likes him, but he doesn't like her. Then you'd feel like an ass because you're involved.
Because you're involved now. You're the one.
Right? I'm the one that set this up, and now someone's hurt.
Right. So it puts more.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I called Rick, but he hasn't been returning my calls. What's going on with him, Mac? I don't want to get involved. I just hooked you guys up.
Yeah, that's all I want the response.
And he's like, oh man, she's been all like, I'm not attracted to her. I don't want someone who's also actively looking for a mate because it's not genuine. They're just looking for someone. Doesn't that make it cheaper and manufactured? Rita Rose says dating equals slept together and hanging and breakfast and running errands and road trips.
But can't you just be dating like casually, like not even hooking up or just going out?
Rita Rose, how long has that been going on? How many months? I'll add to Rita Rose and I'm not saying that you're the guy that you're seeing is but a lot of the books um, that are about attraction for men tell men uh, not to bring up and not to bring up like are we official or not or do you want to be my girlfriend. They always say for the woman to bring it up. Did you ever know that?
No.
Yeah.
That's their recommendation.
I've always done it. I've
Don't put a stamp on it. Let them decide.
I've never, and that wasn't from reading a book. That's just me. I think because I'm okay with dating and not being official.
Sure.
So if you bring it up, I don't think you're out of line. But the dating books, a lot of them times they'll say let the woman bring up when she's ready to be official. Not that she needs to get on bended knee and say will you be my boyfriend, but that she's starting to feel like what's going on with it. Oh, so you don't live in the same town. So that makes it a little different. She said we see each other when we're in town. That makes it a little less. Wow, you're a diva, Rita Rose. Wow, she got a band. She lives in Paris and New York. Yeah. Wow. See if I can matchmake you with some other superstar in the world. I got a DJ in London I'm talking to right now that I can help you out with. There you go, yeah. The funny thing about DJs though, right? It's like there's so many now. And they'll be like, I'm really famous. It's like, never heard of you. But I don't know shit about DJs, right? What do I know? No, I'm really big right now. I'm booked at all the clubs. Okay, great. Yeah, sure. I believe you. How do you know if someone is seeking and weighing the options or just patient and happily single and letting the right person enter their life? How do you know if someone is seeking and he's 35, no marriage or kids, and you're 38 or 39, if I remember correctly. Coach, I'm going to write you a quick email. Here's $5 for reading it. Right on, Chuckster. I would read it for free for you, but thank you for the donation. It is highly appreciated. I'll get lunch on that. How do you know if someone is seeking and weighing their options or just patient and happily single and letting a right person enter their life? I got to read that again. How do you know if someone is seeking and weighing their options? Or just patient and happily single?
Seeking somebody out active.
Because earlier he said that he doesn't want someone. Right, listen. I don't want someone who is also actively looking for a mate because it's not genuine. They're just looking for someone. Doesn't that make it cheaper No. If someone's single, and this is my opinion, if someone's single, man or woman, and they go on some dates with you or they meet you and go out with you, they can be actively looking for a mate. You haven't won the title yet. So.
That doesn't cheapen.
No. What? I'm not. For example, if someone's on a dating app and you start dating them or you start going out with them and you get into this, wow, you're on a dating app? Like, I mean, for you to say that they're actively looking for a mate is not genuine. So they should be looking for serendipity, which is possible. You can't have people be like, "Oh, I'm not really looking right now." There are people like that.
And then you can
but I wouldn't say that if someone says, "I'm really ready," because there's some people like they've been single for a while and they're ready. I've had clients like that. Yeah, I wouldn't hold it against them.
You can still be genuine.
Well, that kind of tells me that you're kind of scared of competition. And I think that if you're dating someone of decent to high quality, regardless of a man or a woman, yeah, if you're dating someone that you are highly attracted to, there's a good chance someone else is. And so the idea that you're going to be like, I hope you're not looking for anyone else, you might be putting up a pitfall right there. How do you know if someone is seeking or weighing their options? I don't think you do know in the beginning. I mean, there's certainly some people that could convey that right off the bat.
Possibly.
But if you're filtering or looking for it, I don't think that that's going to help your situation, because that they would perceive that as someone that might be a little bit controlling, jealous, um, or just patient, happy, single, and letting the right person enter. Let me assume that you're patient, happily single, and waiting. That's what you are.
Mhm.
So you're the person that's patient, happily single, and letting the right person enter their life. So you're thinking other people should be that way. I'm saying good for you, great approach for you. There might be some other people like that, but that doesn't penalize the people that are actively on dating apps or dating multiple people to see what they like. I don't think either of you are wrong, or either of you are manufactured or cheap.
But was they asking how do you know between the two? Right?
That's the second
Right,
question.
yeah.
How do you know if someone is seeking or weighing their options? I would say if you listen to them closely when you date, you probably could, but there's obviously probably some people that hold their cards
Right,
tighter.
so it's going to be a little while maybe before you can figure that out.
Right. No. You're right. I got to make a list of what I want. I'm attracted to puzzles. See? That's another, Rita Rose, that's another thing that's taught in attraction books. And I'm not saying that this guy's reading those books, but the funny thing is everything's online now, right? It's like, I'm talking about breakups. I'm talking about this. You can find 500 other people that talking about this. There's a lot of basics, right? The basics get a little old. Find your purpose,
Yeah.
right? Found that 100,000 times. Someone will say, "You got to find your purpose." It's like, where did you hear that one from? Did you recur?
Yeah.
Right? Original thought.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah.
Please.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the things though that guys are encouraged to do is create mystery, um, uncertainty, to not show their cards. I keep using the poker thing today, but that's what attracts you. You're attracted to puzzles. It's called open loops in psychology. So right now you can't figure them out, so that's why he's on your mind all the time. You're looking for the end of the story, but it's really a cliffhanger, and that makes it attractive. But it also pisses you off because you're like, hey, I don't want to play these games. But guess what? Keep monitoring this, and once you figure out everything, ask yourself if you're still so attracted.
Yeah, what is the attraction level after that?
She says I'm way too shy to call in Monsieur Mac. All right, you'll just be anonymous. I wonder if this is on real delay when people's comments come in. Not to penalize, but it's a totally different situation perspective to be starting from. Oh, sorry. Right now, as a guy, I'm not spinning plates, as in it would be more genuine to meet someone unexpectedly. Are single women the same way? Well, some are and some aren't. I would say that's contributed to the society or the subculture you live in. I've talked about this before. It's underrated. Where you live at in the world, not America, because everyone thinks America is the center of everything. When all these YouTube channels and different men are this, women are that. What in Miami? It's like it's a little deeper than that, right? So wherever you are, would contribute to the behavior of people a little bit more, right? So it's like Rita Rose. You've been in Paris before. You've been in New York. It sounds like you've lived a few different places. It's different, right? How men and women act. If you want, but going back to your question, if a woman's spinning plates, I would hope that you have the intuition or the insight to know when you can trust a woman. So, when you're going out to date, it's actually, like I say, a discovery mission. You're taking mental notes. There's different things. There's one thing at some point I would like to do almost like a teaching segment. I thought about doing this for the channel, and I would teach you how to listen to people when they talk better. And this is something I've really developed from coaching. Really, and I don't mean like when you're in the date, like, what did you just say?
Yeah.
I don't mean like,
taking notes.
Hold on. Mac told me about these identity statements. That was it. But there's certain little things you can key in on that we just kind of go, oh, she's attractive, he's attractive, oh, this. Oh, I can't believe they said that. but you don't really unpack it. And people tell you who they are with the way they use their language. And so I would hope that you could figure that out when you're dating a woman if she's spinning plates or how she talks about past relationships. And if you're wrong, it's okay. Because people tell me, like, oh, intuition in your gut's always right. It's not. It's not. It's right more often than not with people that you know well. So Rita Rose Hubblesworth, she's known this guy 15 years. Her intuition will be stronger. You meet someone in the grocery store and you go, oh, I know he likes me.
Do you really know this person?
Yeah, it's different. So what I come back to is you believe what you want to believe, right? You believe what you want to believe. When you're not using, psychology 101 and some of these like listening habits and things like that, you just fall into believing what you want to. Not penalized, but it's a totally different situation and perspective you're starting from. I'm way too shy to call in. Okay. Sounds like this guy has an emotional carrying advantage over you, and he's winning right now. Rita Rose, I actually have a client right now that lives in Paris, too. Paris. I guess they were on lockdown for a long time. I didn't know that. Why? How would I know, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like this guy has an emotional carrying advantage over you, and he's winning right now. What did we do before we had YouTube and the internet to dissect everything up? Right?
Seriously.
Analyze everything. What did we do in the past, Rita Rose? We were around before the internet, right? It's like, what did we do? We just talked to friends, or we just
It's so common now. It's so like
did I dissect
ingrained.
everything? Like, let me
Yeah.
figure this out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna figure out the real answers to this stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a DTR. What is a DTR? Since late February. Rita Rose, we gotta get you on the. What if I had a voice scrambler? There was a guy that he was a client of mine, and I said, "Do you want to come on a live stream?" And this guy's like, he was like a D2 basketball player, extremely cocky, probably one of the cockiest clients I've talked to. Like so cool, right? Just got out of college, was a junior rapper.
Ooh.
Talk like yeah, everything like that and stuff. And it was like, I was like, do you want to, and we ended up doing a live coaching session. It was good. Like we cut through the shit. I was like, can you just cut the cool shit for a little bit and just talk? And then when we broke it down, it was like he took off the cool armor.
Right.
And oh, this girl's really, she's special. He's like, like going through it for a moment, like admitting that he had like hives from it, like real stressful shit, right? I was like, wow, so for someone that's so cocky,
Right.
I'm not even cocky, dude. I'm not even cocky. I'm one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. I was like, all right. And then I said, you know what? Maybe you want to call, because we had a really good coaching session in the end. And I was like, you want to call? And he's like, nah, dude, I'm not putting my voice on there. He goes, maybe if you had like one of them scrambler voices. And I was like, do you know what I'm talking about when they had like the
right.
yeah.
Which just totally changes. Yeah.
I'm in the Bronx. That's funny. I was just listening to that old school song, Peter Guns and Lord Tariq, and they're from the Bronx. Guaranteed Peter. All right, he lives in okay. So that's not too far away. Late February, so March, April. All right, let's just do this, Rita Rose. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the attraction for you? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the connection? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the trust? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the intimacy? Throw those on the table. Never mix business with pleasure. Whoever is on the bottom gets dumped on until they are dumped.
Whoever's on the bottom.
Is that your experience, Karen Ashley, or is that for everyone? So, are you projecting that? Did that happen to you? I don't know. That seems. I would say that when you work with someone, but business is. I suppose being in a business together would be different. Whenever we make statements like never mix business with pleasure or never date people you work with, um, I get it, and you can have those rules until you don't. Right? Until someone you're really attracted to breaks the rule, and you're like, you know what? Actually, right? It's like recently someone was telling me that in the comments, like it sounds like you're not really hard on people from cheating. How about you make a video for us that have been cheated on before and show some fairness? And it's like, no, my point about cheating is this: it's been going on since the beginning of time. It happens more than you think, right? The question really is, were people meant to be monogamous? Because I'm at a point now where I'm like, damn, you. And here's the thing about the cheating thing. It could be a preschool teacher, right? That goes to church on Sundays and ends up meeting someone from church or something like that. It happens all the time. So if it's a human thing, it's horrible that someone gets hurt, right? But what game are you playing? I don't know. I think it's a flawed system at this point because it's not right to cheat when you're in a monogamous relationship. It happens all the time. So if we look at nature, dogs, cats, I don't think they're ever accused of cheating. Turtles, fish, right? They just lay hat wherever they go. Drop seed, done. We're different, right? Are we? Was this created as it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing because no one wants to ever think my sweetheart would ever do that. But I think you're against the odds. I think that more people cheat than don't cheat. Does that mean I think it's a good thing to do? No, it's kind of one of those obvious things. No, that's horrible. But I also don't think that someone should be stoned in the streets, because they cheated. Because it's a very common thing, right? Now the person that gets cheated on, they cling to that, and they get hurt and they get upset and they go, "I was monogamous. I was this. I was that." I agree. But the reality is, if it happens all the time, it's been happening since the beginning of time. Maybe we have to change the system. Right?
Yeah. Easier said than done, but yeah.
It is easier said than done, but it's not. But here's my main point. Whatever you believe true or not true, I'm not gonna rub someone's face in the mud that's done it before. So I'm not gonna go, "Oh, you're just a horrible, despicable person." That I'm not gonna do it because it's much more common than you think. Now there's ways to go. There's actually people that have come up with reasons to me because I've talked to them that are in a fair, and I'm like, wow, that sounds pretty rational to me. So these things come up all the time. All right, let's get into, should things be equal, or is it actually advantageous to care reciprocate a little less than the other person to build their attraction? Here's another one, Linder, too. There's never going to be a relationship, friends, family, or colleagues, where it's going to be 100% equal all the time. That's a fantasy. Now, you might say, "Oh, I got a buddy, we're equals." Okay, but there might be certain situations where that buddy could kick your ass, or I don't know. But every relationship fluctuates into different things. I think the best relationships would probably be the consistent ones, where each side knows where you stand and you stay that way. And I think that was more common with people in the 50s and 60s when they didn't have internet. And Joe has a solid job at the sawmill, at the sawmill, and Annie stays at home with the kid. We have our your roles are, and I think now it's like this isn't equal. I don't think that I don't think that most relationships are equal. That doesn't mean that they have to be lopsided.
No.
But for example, one person makes more money than the other person, so they might have more power. For example, someone might own the house because it was grandma's house, and you didn't put anything in. There's all kinds of little dynamics involved, and so when you start going, hey, this isn't fair. Good luck.
What do you want to find something?
Good luck. But you also can't get in relationships as a man where you're like, all right, this woman believes in this man, men calling the shots, and believes in this. So every time someone complains and generalizes, they're just telling me what relationships they've been in. And so therefore they believe that all relationships are like that. And the reality is, no, the world's much bigger than, oh, research shows, oh, a study at Johns Hopkins University shows. That's not the world, idiots. It's not. It's not. It. Some of this stuff, yeah, okay, but people throw it around like, yeah, this is how men and women are. No, that was a study of 1,000 people. That I just don't. I don't get it sometimes. When I talk to all these people in different parts of the world in different ages, it's human beings are way more intricate, and that's why I said you're together for a long time. Yeah, someone might have the short end of the stick. This idea that you're going to be equal. Okay, you get this much money, I get this much money, I get this part of the house, you get this part of the house. Someone's got to give in. Someone's got to give in more than the other person. It's a choice. And then when negotiations are off, the relationship's dust. Smokey the Cat, Coach, how are you? Excellent, thanks for asking. Okay, so after 3 years of the breakup, saw my ex with her new partner, and it was a great feeling. Well, kudos to you.
3 years and then stop.
Why was it a great feeling? I don't know. Even if I have my exes, if I saw them with their boyfriends, I don't know if it would be a great feeling or awkward.
Like you're happy that they're
3 years if you haven't seen each other. Yeah. Why would you find that to be great? There's a lot to being monogamous because it's not natural. So when people actually show long-term loyalty, there's a lot more attachments and circumstances involved. So if it's not natural, are we doing the right thing? Maybe that's for a different show. 4-year sex contract. Terms negotiated up front. Johanna Samuelson, how are you? Sweden's finest. It is something to be envious of when your ex respects and values someone else enough to be in a monogamous relationship with them and not you. I was asking if interest levels should be evenly matched or if it actually attracted to care and invert less. How do you know how to gauge if interest levels are the exact same? I would say that here's my short answer. Whenever you're in a relationship, it fluctuates. There's no set,
it's
right?
not set.
Yeah, no, it's not set. Because you'll be in the relationship and go, oh, what happened to you? You're acting different.
Ups and downs.
Yeah, so it's never going to be the same. And then when you said, when your ex respects and values someone else enough to be in a monogamous relationship with them and not you, is it something to be envious of? Not if you've moved on. You know, exes I've had in the past that are, if there's a couple I wouldn't even know if they're in a monogamous relationship. There's one that I know of that is, and I think to myself, good for you. I definitely don't track them.
Yeah, but you're gone.
Yeah, it's fine. If I ran into them somewhere, I would certainly be polite, cordial. You know, how you doing and stuff. I just always think when you meet a guy and you used to be with that girl and the other guy meets you, I'd be respectful, but I would keep it short.
Yeah.
He doesn't want. Yeah, no.
But just
That's
respectful,
yeah.
whatever.
Shake his hand,
Sure.
say hey, how you doing? I wouldn't ignore the guy.
That's confident, anyways.
Yeah, no, I would be fine, but I would just keep it short. But I don't think I'd be like, oh, that was a really good feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, oh, I'm glad she's with someone. I don't think I would feel that, but it depends on the interaction. But I definitely don't think I'd be on bad terms. It's something to be envious. Oh, sorry. I was asking, I'm not okay, but trying my best. Well, sometimes that's all we can do. I'll tell you this: keep showing up. Sometimes you just got to go. I want to keep showing up for tomorrow morning. You're not going to give up on anything. Okay, honestly, more towards my ego. I was with my new partner as well, but let's just say visually she downgraded. But I'm sure he's a great person.
Okay.
I hope she's happy. Ha! I don't I don't know if it applies as much for guys. I know women care a lot. I've talked to numerous women. I've worked with women before that they really make a judgment call if the new girl is up to their par.
Really,
and usually, by the way, women I talk to are always like, yeah, she's ugly or she's old or she's this or that. They never usually say, oh, she's gorgeous. I've heard it once.
But it's usually, you're right though.
The client was like, she's beautiful, and she's extremely jealous of the.
Well, I mean,
she's extremely jealous of her. She doesn't look at it as a good thing.
But she's being honest.
Right. But I would say that I would say though that yeah, it wouldn't matter too much to me. I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm better than this guy. That's an yeah. Because I don't feel like I've never been left for someone else. So if I was left for someone else, maybe there's more of a comparison in that way, right?
It depends on what happened.
I think that the best feeling is when you have someone that you've met that you feel like is better or equal value. And here's the thing. If you've been in a few relationships, Rita Rose, I think you've been in a few, and I mean that in a nice way. Right? Linder Tube, I don't know. You sound like, how many relationships have you actually been in? Right? I've been in 4 serious ones. I've dated a few more than that. And I would say that the minute you really move on is when you meet someone else that you find to be. And that's the thing. When someone says, when are you going to get over it? I don't like to say that because then someone says, I'm not ready, I haven't met someone. You're not going to know when you meet that person. But when you do, that's when you go, that breakup was a great thing that happened because I met someone equal or higher value to me. Right. And they have something that they have something that you didn't have in your last relationship. Because there's always something lacking.
Right.
There's always
right. You're never 100%.
Isn't it really right? I've had girlfriends before in the beginning. You're like, oh yeah, this is great, and then you just like pick up a few things you don't like. Pick up a few things you don't like.
You know somebody.
You don't really like this, and then you meet someone else. You're like, oh my god,
they're filling those.
They erase that gap. Yeah. So that's when it really comes full circle, and you don't even give a shit. There was someone else. You're like, I'm really happy with who I was with.
Why would you care if you're?
The times that you're bitter is if you're alone and there was someone else, that starts to bug you a little bit, and you feel like you got the one that got away. So. Rita Rose Hubblesworth says, we read books. It's like you can read my mind, voice scramble. What if I had, what would be really cool is if remember the Scream voice?
Yeah, the movie.
The movie Scream?
Yeah.
Man, I thought that, did I ever tell you that story? So then, when I used to work at a small drugstore, remember Long's? I don't even think they have Long's anymore.
I think it got bought out.
Rita Rose, do you know Long's, right? So I worked there for a little bit. Yeah, they got bought out, I think, in the photo department. Little green vest.
Oh, the photos.
Yeah, I had a little green vest and stuff. Man, you work with some characters at places like that, man. Talk about it's like working with carny folk. Right? So, I was 16, 17. And they had this phone there that had different voices. And they had the Scream voice.
On the phone.
And we were like, this is fucking cool, man. So I got the phone. And you think to yourself like a drugstore. They had everything at that store. And so I got the phone and we were crank calling people. Not one of my highest moments, right? Not one of my best moments in life, but funny as hell when you're a kid, right? Yeah. Party line.
Oh yeah.
Were you around? You're 5 years young. Party line, right? And we called up this kid with a scream voice that was like a friend of a friend. Oh my god, I can't do this. I'm pretty good with impersonations, but the scream voice is kind of hard. We were like, "Where are you right now? What are you doing?" And he was like, "Mom!" His kid's like 17, 18. He's like, "Mom!" He's like screaming for his mom.
Yeah.
Oh, it was brutal. So get someone on here with the scream voice, because the scrambling voice, it sounds like you're on Cops, right? I only think about criminals with the scrambling voice, right?
Yeah, doing like those shows that they talk about like they're drug dealers or something, and then they're trying to hide it.
All right, and there probably is some voiceovers. I could probably change it
figure
on
it
this
out,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I could probably change it on this.
Somehow.
I'll keep that in mind. Rita Rose, if I scramble a voice, will you come on? Because you sound interesting. You're in a band. You lived in Paris and New York. Your ex went gay. These are all interesting topics to talk about. And then you say the new guy. Oh yeah, I was. Lindertube says, and then say the new guy. Oh yeah, I was banging your girl for 2 years. These are people create these scenarios. I've noticed this too on some of the other shows. It's like, well, what if this happens? It's like, yeah, it could be.
Okay.
This is what I like about the stories. When I unpack a story, I'm like, this actually really happened, right? We're not creating like, well, if I had a Lamborghini and I had $10 million and I had this and I had that, yeah, okay, that one's a whopper. You know what I mean? You weren't aware that you were left for someone else. They had them lined up. I don't want to know. If that ever happened to me, and it's possible it did, I don't think it did. I'm not above it. This is like people will go, oh, that's never happened to me. I've never been. I don't know. Not that I know of that I've been cheated on, but it's a possibility. If I look at, been in a 7-8 year relationship, a 5-year, 4.5, 5-year. I've been in a 2-year. It's possible within that 15 years that one of them
Something
dropped out of line, right? Mm-hmm. It's possible. And now knowing what I know about relationships and talking to so many people that actually cheat and do different and shop. And like I said, there's people that would be like the preschool teacher, right? The person that you would not think, and they're like, actually, I did cheat before. And you're like, really? You? Well, yeah, he's a MMA fighter, and we just kind of, and it's like, what? And they're pissed off because their ex is talking to someone. It happens all the time. You look like a love guru, come child. I don't even want to go there. And learn the wonders of the universe. Come child and learn the wonders of the universe. Is that directed to me? Truth of love, the great clutch. How you doing, bro? Attraction 10, connection 7, trust 9, intimacy 8. Wow, those are some numbers.
Yeah.
Isn't it? That's actually a really good thing to do. Mm-hmm. It's a really good thing to do for yourself at all given moments and be honest. And if you get a 7 really means a 6. 7's actually, I've heard about when you do these 1 to 10s, 7's the number where you want to be nice, but you don't really.
Right, you're trying to, okay, it's a 7, but it's really, okay, it's a 6 or
It's
5.
a C. Yeah. Right? In grades, it's a C.
Right.
It's a big difference if a teacher gives you a B or an A, right? A B's 80%, 9's A, 10's 9, right? So connection's the issue. Connection's the issue. It is, and there's something in that connection that's maybe holding. If you feel like the connection's a 7, then maybe it's similar. So I'd ask, like, why is that a little bit lower than the other things? Do you have different morals and values? Exactly. I always try to upgrade. It's San Diego. There's so many friendly singles out there. I hope so. I lived in San Diego. San Diego is a mecca for singles, and I would say, I don't know what it's like now, but it's a beautiful place to live. Things ended on bad terms with ex after misunderstandings, but now I'm in no contact, says Kushai Davda. Kushai, where are you at in the world?
Ended on bad terms because of a misunderstanding.
Well, most forms of communications are misunderstandings a lot of times. You know what gets me too? Is the amount of people that go, oh, yeah, you got it wrong. No, you just misunderstood me. You could check. I've checked people like that so many times where I said, excuse me, I think there was a misunderstanding. No, you said this. No, I think you misunderstood what I meant by what I said. I know what I meant. I know what I intended to say. Right? There's a big difference than saying, oh, no, you meant this. Oh, no, you. No. Excuse me. Excuse me. I think you misunderstood me. I think we had a misunderstanding. I was speaking English and you were speaking Chinese, and we both don't speak those languages, right? It's just a misunderstanding. And people interpret words the way they want to. Oh, you meant this, but no, you're projecting now. You're saying what you want to believe. Kushai Devada from India, welcome, my friend. You're saying that you need to replace them in order to move on from them? No, I'm not saying you need to do anything. I'm just saying that when you're truly over, I believe when you're truly over an ex, and let me add, doesn't apply to everyone. I don't have a one side. I don't go, this is my 1,000% rule. I'm just saying when you really look at your post breakup, maybe clutch if you're still on, bud, you can key in on this. If you really look at when you get to a point where you're like, I'm good, I don't even think about him.
Right.
And when you do think about him, you're like, oh, I hope she's doing well.
It's indifferent. It's not.
It's indifferent. Yeah, it's it's fine. It's okay. Oh, you're seeing someone else. Oh, great, you became a porn star in LA. Great, good for you, hon. I'm glad. Make your money, whatever. And if I run into you in the future, I'd love to hear the stories, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine. If you're with someone else that you find equal or better, it's fine. If you're one of those people that you settled and you think that you had the one get away and they were the best thing that ever happened to you, it's extremely limited thinking. Extremely limited thinking. So no, I'm not saying that you need to replace them. You're never going to replace an individual you dated because there's no one like them. I've talked about that.
It's a unique person.
People are similar. People are relatable to other people. But your ex, you're never going to meet someone that lines up exactly like that. And so that's why I said you meet someone new. The best part is when you're like, wow, this is exactly what I didn't like about my ex. They used to smoke cigarettes and they used to, fart a lot before they went to bed or stuff like that, right? And you're like, you're with someone new and you're like, oh, great. She's not gassing up the room before we go to sleep. I had a friend, dude. I swear, this is a true story. He was, oh no, his girlfriend was, they were like high school sweethearts and then into their 20s, right? Like 22, 23. And I remember his girlfriend, she was pretty, she was really shy. It was one of those, it was funny because my buddy's pretty outgoing and he's had 2 long-term girlfriends and both of them pretty girls, but really shy. Not just shy, but almost shy, but not sweet.
Standoffish or...
Do you know what I'm?
Yeah,
there's a difference.
Yeah.
There's shy that's kind of like hi,
playful,
like sweet, kind, and then there's shy like I'm gonna go in the other room, hi,
yeah,
like this, like a fake smile, like, and you're just like, God, just like, I don't want to have a conversation, and the conversations will be like, hey, what's up? Like there's nothing there. Yeah, no substance. And then they would be. Both of his girlfriends would be highly jealous, and they would have these fights over like, where are you right now? I'm with Mac having a beer. Like you'd have to explain where he was watching the game. I was fucking pathetic, dude. So, but he was telling me he's like, dude, I don't even think I've never known my girlfriend to take a crap, and I was like, what? And he's like, I've just never witnessed her. I'm like, what do you mean in the same bathroom? He's like, no, I've never even noticed that she's been in the bathroom for 10 minutes or longer. And I'm like, why? Because she's so shy that she doesn't want to show you that she takes craps too? It's such a random
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
because I don't even know. I don't even know when she does it. I was like, wow, she must have, maybe she burns matches in there or something. But I remember him like, and then when they broke up, man, that was a tough one. I'll never forget that one. Jeez. Find a girl that never craps. Yeah.
It's hard.
She's got a cat litter box in the back. I'm never gonna turn him off.
I'd be torn over that too.
That's a good question, though. I mean, I wonder if that happens to some guy. You're like, oh, we've been seeing each other for a while. I just witnessed she just dropped her first deuce.
Time.
Just entered the bathroom afterwards, and there was green smoke and paint peeled off the walls. Why'd you guys break up? I don't want to talk about it.
It's a tough
I don't want to talk about it. No, it's not a good thing. Too much coffee from Mac this morning. What the? Rita, this guy is marriage material. What's the complaint if the trust is that high? I think connection out of 7 is it. I think your level should be 8s and above. Don't know how long. I think connection holds its number more than attraction does. Attraction drops up and down more. Smokey the Cow, don't you know how long ago you have visited San Diego, but it just seems to get better every year? Oh my. Smokey the Cat, dude, is this who I think it is? Is this someone I know from San Diego? It's been, since I lived in San Diego, it's been, I went there for a bachelor party. I felt like I was 50 years old at the time because everyone seemed so young. And it was crazy? Is this, we go to this bachelor party. It's in Pacific Beach, is the area. I used to the beach area. Have you been there before?
No, not.
Oh man, it's great. It's a great area to live. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Nothing bad to say about it. I would live there. I would live there again in the future. But one of my friends got all this like bowling shirts to say you're part of the bachelor party. I was embarrassed, man. I don't get embarrassed easily, but I was like, it was so cheesy. And they were like, we gotta wear our bachelor shirt, and I was just like, come on, man, really? And we went out. I remember we went out, and I felt so uncool.
Yeah.
Right? I'm in a college town, right?
Right.
Mid-30s, and we're wearing like these bowling, and they were. I don't want to say they were silk, but like that jersey material or something.
Mm-hmm. Uncomfortable.
Almost like where you wick away moisture.
Yeah.
But we were like part of this bowling team that was the bachelor party with everyone's names on it and stuff. And I was just like, do I really have to wear this, man? Come on, guys. And they were like, yeah, we got this. They had mugs made and everything. I was like, fuck, man. Okay, fine. Is this what? It's like doing a birthday party when you're 10 or something with memorabilia. Don't I actually, Smokey the Cat. How old are you? My niece, who's 26, she's gone over there a few times the last couple of years, and she's always saying how she wants to live there. Mike, I'm getting a little attached to your channel. Is that attractive or repulsing? That this applies to the problem. This applies to probationary periods in relationships. I think that was sarcasm, so I'm just going to let it flow. I used to think that way. I used to believe in soulmates, too. Really, Derek D?
Soulmates.
Do you believe in soulmates, B? Ever?
I mean, I think you can get to a level where, you're thinking that way, but true so not.
Yeah, no, I've never had that. I believe in being attracted to someone highly at first sight that you think, damn. And it's like an above attraction, or I've had moments where you start to feel like, yeah, this person's kind of like different in the way you connect with them and stuff. But I would never say like, oh, we're soulmates. I don't think soulmates is a problem for anyone as long as you spell it with an S. So just make sure that you don't narrow yourself down to one of those. I feel and always felt once I can imagine that ex-girlfriend with someone else sexually, then I know for sure I'm over that relationship. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, no, I don't. I don't usually imagine my ex is in bed with someone else. That's not one thing I go to. Luckily, my mind doesn't go there. That's a tough thing to do, Smokey. The girl I'm seeing is an antisocial introvert, but she doesn't care what I'm doing because she's fine chilling.
Should you be a really social
Yes.
introvert? Isn't that pretty par for the course if you're antisocial?
Yeah.
Introverted?
I mean, I don't think that. I mean, you can be with someone that's an intro. I don't know. I mean, you know what? I get on this all the time about introvert and extrovert. Why is there only two?
Mm-hmm. There
It's
should
like
be different levels.
it's like I think Carl Jung came up with it, so it's official, right?
Mhm.
It's like these boxes and labels we put each other in.
Mhm.
I mean, can someone be an introvert and an extrovert? Yeah.
Sure. Different times.
Yeah,
They have different feelings. Yeah.
Sometimes I just want people to leave me the hell alone.
Yeah.
Well, where you been, Mac? I don't want to talk to anyone. Thanks.
I feel like chilling at home and watching a movie tonight or whatever.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
But being antisocial is something that
Mm-hmm.
is kind of different to me. Antisocial means that you don't want to talk to people at all. And then you went to the strip club. I don't know what that was in regards to. I dated a chick whom I've never seen without makeup. Ah,
Ooh.
I know that
Ooh,
one.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I know that one.
You wake up in the morning and
Woke up and I said, "Where'd your eyebrows go, hon?" Never forgot that one. I told you that one
Yeah,
before. Yeah, I woke up and I said, "Excuse me?
What?
Was there a fire in your past life or something? You know, like I was like, wow, I really didn't know." And she's like, "What? What?" I'm like, "Wow." But yeah, the makeup thing. Then there's women, Derek D, that wear. I've had it where I'm like, you wear way too much makeup. You got a pretty face, right? How about this one, Derek D? You met you met in a bar or a restaurant or somewhere with dark lighting, and you had a few drinks, and then you're like, oh shit. You're like, wow, you go out another time. You're like, wow, you look totally different. You underrate lighting.
Oh, light. Huge.
Underrate lighting, Derek T. That's why you always want a red light bulb in your room next to the desk. Game changer. I'm going. Smokey the Cat, you're 26. Wow. If you're a good individual, I could introduce you to my niece and her friends next time she goes to San Diego. Maybe that's a bad thing. Won't want that. I'm going off the shy, mean type you described. I related to that because that's my girl. Shy, mean type. Yeah, I don't know. It was like smug.
Yeah.
Like you could never get the girl to. Like we'd hang out or something. She would never be involved in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Getting her to smile would be like a small victory for the group. And you know.
Yeah.
And actually, I remember talking about makeup. This this one girl that was my best friend's. They were was his fiance. I remember we all went on like a trip, like a couples trip. It's like early 20s, not 1920s, max 20s. And I remember it was the first time I've ever seen someone have like basically what I would call like a 5-stair tackle box of makeup.
Makeup on it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I was like, what the? Oh no, she's trained to be a make. I was like, damn, that's the secret to her, huh? She had, it was, I hadn't seen anything like that except for a Bass Pro, man. I saw that and I went, what the hell? Oh, we got one more thing for so and so. We take it out of the car. I'm like, what's this? He's like, that's her makeup. I'm like, excuse me, really? She's got a 5-decker tackle box of makeup. Wow, bro. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Not my cup of tea. Judith, hi. Introvert and extrovert is a full spectrum. Okay, enlighten me. I'm both introvert and extrovert. Gemini, that's me. Well, I'm an Aquarius. I'm also I'm also American. I'm a Niners, a Giants, and a Warriors fan too. Exactly, Danny. Even when I would come over, she would wake up super early because she didn't want me to see her without makeup.
Do the makeup.
Wow.
That's,
It's actually more common than you think.
how long was the relationship? How long was she doing this for? 'Cause, I mean, if you're doing this for months, that's crazy.
There must have been something else he was getting from it that wasn't. Rita Rose says connection is lower because he is super guarded. Little by little, he opens up and talks more about his family. He grew up in it. He grew up with his family in the funeral business, so he's really good at disconnecting. Wow,
That's interesting.
that is interesting. Rita, you got to call
This
in.
is- yeah.
I'm at 2.5 hours. I'm going for 5 hours today. I'm feeling spunky. I've been targeting guys that are in the funeral service. Actually, you know what's funny about that, Rita Rose? My mother, I gotta get my mom to call in one day.
One day, yeah.
My mom's funny. Well, she's funny without trying to be funny. Because she's so honest and innocent in a lot of ways. But she told me that there was this place where the city I grew up in, San Mateo. She would always point it out whenever we were downtown because she said it had a basement and it was a morgue.
Yeah.
That's where they
Keep the-
bomb the bodies. Is that what they call it?
Mortuary.
Mortuary. Yeah. So my mom was saying like I think she was dating a guy or something like that, and he took them down there, and I was like, that's fucking twisted, man. There's nothing that's gonna get you attracted more than seeing a place where dead people are taken. That's interesting. Well, Rita Rose, that lines up with My Girl. That was a great movie. Remember that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Macaulay
Long
Culkin,
time
Dan
ago.
Aykroyd.
Yeah.
Great movie.
That was the bees.
Dan Aykroyd was a mortician in the movie.
That's the bees.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. He's really good at disconnecting. That's interesting. See how that's exactly my point, Rita Rose. It's like people are so intricate. They're so a little bit different. I'm sure he didn't go into that business, but being around that would definitely
Seeing all the time.
change things. Roller Girl says, I'm 56. Wow. Well, congratulations. When's your birthday? Two-Face, good one, Linda, too. Okay. All the milt men in my life are or have been Aquarius. All the milt men? What does that mean? You obviously spelled that wrong. M-I-L-T. Did it storm really bad? Wrong. Okay, read it. You're overthinking this. Is he interested or not? Guys are still simple. What you see is what you get. Linder Tube, you're talking about yourself, I think.
Yeah.
Guys aren't. Not all guys are the same anymore. That's the thing. If she's known him for 15 years, she knows him better than we do. For sure. And Rita Rose is a smart woman, or she wouldn't be on this show for this long. That's for damn sure.
15 years is a long time to get to know
Oh
someone.
yeah,
So,
and you know the dirty too.
for sure.
You know who they've been with. See, that's what I don't know if that's a good thing. I've dated someone before that ended up being a girlfriend, and she hooked up with one of my friends prior to me.
But
One of
you
my
knew
really
her-
good.
for-
Nothing shady.
Right.
Nothing shady.
You just knew the history.
It was one of my really good friends, one of my really good buddies, and he's a good dude. He's a player.
But he's a good guy.
Oh, he was a player though. I mean, he got it in, right? But it bothered me. It bothered me for years, and it shouldn't have. There was never nothing going on between that. But you always like your friends around. You're like,
Sure.
I hung out with my friend less.
Right.
I definitely didn't bring my girlfriend around my friend that much.
Right. Because you knew the history there. As your
It's just
friend,
awkward, dude. If you think,
yeah.
you think it would probably be different now that I'm older,
Mhm.
more secure and everything. And like I said, that was a good friend of mine. He would never step on that thing, but like,
Sure.
it makes it awkward when you know someone's baseball card. Date with Laffy Quince, who is also known as Aleph, the cat hunter.
Quince.
I don't know where that comes from. Yeah, Aleph's actually working on a documentary on Cat Island. It's in the works right now. He's in the beginning stages of it. He's just doing his research right now. So if you're interested in cats, there'll probably be a website we'll have posted soon, or a GoFundMe for Aleph to
It's being researched
Mhm.
right now.
cover himself in sardines and walk around Cat Island. Date with someone that I work with. I think it's not bad if she or he was really single. If we are not really click after that, she didn't mind about that. Yeah, if you, I mean, it's always a choice. It's always I like to say. Don't set golden rules outside of killing, stealing, and what else? Is there anything else? I mean, to set yourself up where you're like, hey, I would never, I'll never, leave yourself a little room to maneuver. The level of interest you're receiving from him is his level of interest. There's no hidden secrets. Nav says, I'm interested in that documentary, Aleph. We already got some.
We got someone on.
So if we do a GoFundMe for Aleph, I think it would be something people are interested. Are you even aware that there's a Cat Island?
It's a highly.
Have you seen Cat Island?
I have not seen Cat, but I'm interested.
You've heard of it?
I've heard.
Dude, Aleph's dead serious when he talks about it too. You go, yeah, I'd really like to go Cat Island. It's like, there's a Cat Island. Oh yeah.
Well, I'm obviously going to be interested if he's doing it. So.
Most important men in my life have been Aquarius. Well, add one to the group, world girl. I'm also in the Chinese year the metal monkey. Do you know what you are?
Yeah, the ox.
You're the ox. What does that mean?
I just know I'm the ox.
Judith. Most contemporary trait theories measure levels of extroversion, introversion as part of a single continuous dimension of personality, with some scores near one end and others near the halfway mark. See, that's just too much to think about, I think.
So it's fluctuating.
Most contemporary trait theories measure levels of What did people do before we had all these? No, this is no offense to you, Judith. Don't take it that way, because I use extrovert, introvert, and I didn't study it and research it at the extent you did. And I respect you for that. It's kind of funny though. Like, what did like tribes do before? When they were like, this person not talk to people, this person friendly.
Just stay at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Judith, how are you, by the way? This is Judith that's in Paris, right? Just to, because we have one of the other people that's on the live stream right now. Judith is actually someone that goes to Paris sometimes. Judith's good people. There's also a ton of cats in Malta. Malta looks like a beautiful place. I've seen pictures of that. Rita Rose. Well, to be honest, I told him last week that I didn't want to date anymore, so this conversation is really about clarity for compartments, since we're friends too. So could you be friends with benefits?
Because the intimacy was high, right?
Yeah.
Right.
If you're...
It was like a 9.
Let me ask you this, Rita Rose. Dun, 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 dun. Were you being honest when you said, I don't want to date anymore? Or was that a reach? Was that a, hey, just going to throw this line in the water and see if I can catch a fish?
Yeah.
Right? Am I guessing right that you don't really want to stop dating, that you want to go, I'd really like for you to beg for me to keep dating you? Derek DC, I think that's a tough one, Coach. Some guys don't have a strong moral code. I wouldn't smash my friend's wife or girlfriend. Some of my friends would have no problem with that. I agree.
People are different.
I've always, as a great E40 song goes, I stand on that. I wouldn't do it. No. Mm-mm. Question would be, Derek D, once they're broken up, what's the statute of limitations? I also wouldn't do it after they broke up. I wouldn't. But I know I have friends that would have. I actually had a friend growing up that basically was looking at it. I never used this term before, but a bit of a scavenger. When
They pick off the.
oh, dude, he'd always go after like friends, exes, or
vulnerable.
not just. Well, it was just like it would be an easy in because they would know each other and stuff.
Right.
But he would never be successful.
Mm-hmm.
But he would invite. Like I'd be like, you're inviting. Let's just say you're inviting Kim over, and he's like, yeah, Kim's gonna come tonight. I was like, you talked to her? It's like one of our boys' girlfriends of like 3 or 4 years, and they broke up like within the year or 2 years.
Right.
But you're like,
still,
yeah. I told her to come over. I told her to hang out. I'm like, all right, is she bringing a friend? But in my head, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like but
This happened multiple times. Like this is something.
It happened enough to be like, damn, dude, you know what I mean? It's kind, But on the flip side, the girls never hooked up with him, so
it was just kind of a
desperate move a little bit to be frank.
Mm-hmm.
To be frank, it was a little bit. So it's not something, like I said, it wouldn't be something I would do. But you're right, Double D. There's definitely buddies of mine that I know that are like, oh yeah.
I mean,
no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Even though I'm still super duper attracted to him physically. So why can't you just be friends with benefits? Cat Island is my dream. Absolutely love cats. Well, something for everyone, I suppose. Ernesto Farfan, we actually have someone else that's from San Diego. Ernesto's the San Diego's finest. Just got notified of your stream, wanted to stop by and say hi. Good IG content, love the pics, your post from Thailand. Right on, Ernesto. Stay you. PB's finest. I actually just had a coaching call from someone in San Diego too. Judith, that's amazing. I now know how much. Ooey. That's just what it said. Ooey. The ancient Egyptians revered cats.
Oh yeah.
That's not a reach, Mac. That's
Koi
ultimatum.
They buried, I think they were in the same tomb. They put them all in.
The area's finest rapper. E40's pretty up there. I like him. Sorry if I confused anyone. It is a quote, only meant to stress that there is so much thing as a 100% introvert or extrovert. I am right on the middle, for instance. Oh yeah, Judith, you definitely wouldn't be a introvert. You got personality. You're very outgoing. There's a book called Silent. There's a book about introverts, about the advantages of being an introvert. One of them is they observe very well.
I would say that's definitely an advantage.
Yeah, my sister was an introvert for sure, and she knows everything that's going on in the room at all times.
Yeah, I feel like you're more emotionally connected, or you can feel that better.
Mm-hmm. Jenny, I'm late. Going to have to watch from beginning. Missing your lives lately. Damn it. Jenny, where are you at in the world? Thanks for leaving a comment before. I'm going on 3 hours here. I'm just trying to lose my voice.
And we're going to try to do this at the same time so people,
Yeah, same time on Wednesday and Saturday. No, I still wouldn't do it out of respect for my friend. No. Me too. Derek D, it breeds
like you said,
it's desperation, dude. You're going to mess with your buddy's ex-girlfriend, especially if they, they had something going. Even if they were just hooking up for a little while.
It's just,
right?
It's like that. There's no one else you can talk to.
And me being a breakup coach, I'd even add I probably wouldn't even be a shoulder to cry on a breakup.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would be like, nah,
we're good.
I don't want anything lost in translation here.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that was another thing that happened. We were in just out of high school. That same friend of mine that I said was like that. I remember my buddy was fighting with his girlfriend at like a house party. Right. Who even does those anymore, right? And they were arguing, and she went outside. And one of our friends went outside to like sit next to her and have a beer, and I'm like, dude, yeah, I was just like, who? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's weak,
that's
bro.
Weak.
My buddy came out and laid him out.
That's weak.
Yeah, my buddy came out and was like, yeah, and I kind of was like, dude, I was just talking to her, like I'm like, nah, dude,
The same you said.
that's
the
an
same again.
opportunist, man. You don't do
Yeah.
that because they were arguing. It wasn't like they had like a fit. They were arguing. They were separated.
Mhm.
He goes out there with a beer to small talk her while she's mad at. No, hell no, man, it's bad. Also, I think many people use introversion as an excuse when dating. I need time to by myself, so I'm not going to be in touch for a couple weeks.
Ooh, that's a little long to not be in touch.
I guess people can use it like that, Judith. I guess you're right. Yeah. Um, I was just talking about this in the story we unpacked earlier today about someone saying that they're busy.
Mm-hmm.
They're so busy. If someone really wants to see you, they usually will make an effort to see you. So sometimes these blanket statements are an excuse, but they certainly can be true sometimes. Someone can be really busy, or someone can need time to themselves. So it's left up to interpretation of what you're up to with that person. But I need time by myself, so I'm going to be in touch for it. I'm not going to be in touch for a couple of weeks. Judith agreed. There has to be a spectrum where people want to pigeonhole you into one or the other. You're good people. I'm in the middle too. Well, there you go.
They can fluctuate.
Judith, do you ever want to come on the show and talk? Judith's got a great opinionated person, I think. I think it would be fun to have you on if you ever want to call in, Judith. Yeah, that's even lower than a beta orbiter. A friend's ex-drunk dialed me recently, crying. I told her to get a therapist and hung up.
There you go.
Wow, that's really considerate of you.
Boom.
I've not that happened to me. I would say go to the website. It's $125 an hour. I'll put my coaching cap on. I know everyone here knows, but trust what Max says. He helped me tremendously when I was going through a hard time about 2 years ago. Thanks, Coach. Catch you later. Right on, Ernesto. You're appreciated, my friend. Would that be to distance yourself from a super clingy person? Yeah, some people are indirect. They don't want to hurt feelings. They might come up with something like that. But some people just want to be alone sometimes. The point was that introverts need more time to themselves and only need to see someone maybe once a week.
Depends on how introverted, I guess.
Yeah, but they're susceptible to falling like anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people this all the time. Everyone meets their match. If you're in relationships long enough, you're active, you date enough, doesn't mean you're a player. It doesn't mean this. Some people, I don't need this. I don't want this. You're gonna meet your match one day, and you're gonna go, wow. Yeah, this
rings a little different.
Yeah. Just to keep other options or to keep it in the no strings attached zone. But don't get me wrong, introversion is a thing. I mean, before I have coffee, I might be an introvert.
Leave me alone.
Oh man,
Don't talk to me.
Getting up for that. I got up for a 7 a.m. hit. You call it hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hit session or whatever.
High intensity
workout for an hour. Man, and everyone looking at me must be like, "What's wrong? You okay?" It's like I didn't drink any coffee yet.
Mm-hmm.
I just took a shower, brushed my teeth, downed some water, came over here, and I'm not even awake. And we're gonna work out. Let's do it. But I'm not gonna be in a good mood right now. Even afterwards, I'm like, I gotta eat. Is that like? Someone's like, "Are you addicted to coffee?" Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad. Could you imagine like when you drink beers, and you go, "I'm gonna have 5 or 6." I can't imagine having 5 or 6 coffees.
There are people though.
Yeah, when people. Yeah. I remember I was hanging out with like a friend of a friend where they were visiting Phuket, and this guy just downed like 3 Americanos in like 40 minutes. I'll have another one. I was like, this is like an alcoholic with coffee, you know? And he's just like, I was like, whoa, man, your hand shaking? That's intense, man. I think coffee's so strong. The point was that sorry, I lost my place here. For sure, Judith. Everyone gets drained eventually. You can only be high energy for so long. Introverts before a few drinks. Introvert before a few drinks.
Before a few, yeah. That's a lot of people. You know?
Well, it was like I had this client one time, and she was dating this guy for a while, and the guy never made a move. And I think she was
When
in
she
her
was dating,
like they were late 40s, like early 50s.
he never made a.
He never made a move, but I think he had some issues with it's like some childhood trauma, maybe molested or something. So I'm not saying like
Sure.
this is where people, we've been joking around a lot. Now we talk about something like serious for a moment,
Yeah, yeah.
but like someone will go, "Oh, what's wrong with this person?" You don't know.
You don't know. You don't know what's been.
You don't know. And
Right,
so like
right.
when she unpacked it, I'm like, well, he probably has intimacy issues,
Right.
and so he had intimacy issues. She knew that, right? So she was saying like, he was working on it, and she was willing to wait and all this other stuff. So, but she was starting to get impatient because they had really good times together. So she said, "Yeah," and then we did this, we did that, and he was like, "Yeah, you want to go get a couple? You want to get a couple drinks?" And she goes, "I just said no because I don't really drink." And I'm like, "Well, that would have probably helped the
That
intimacy."
That might have been.
And she's like,
yeah.
"You think so?" And I'm like, I respect the fact that you don't drink. And I'm like, "Is he an alcoholic?" And she's like, "No, but he likes to have a few drinks." I was like, "Well, that would grease the wheels." Beginning of time. Since the beginning of time.
Beginning of time.
Right. I was like, and she's like, I'm not telling you guys to go out and get drunk, but, it
might
probably
be.
would help him,
Loosen up a bit or whatever, about his past. Yeah.
I was like, so next time, tell him, did you want to have a cocktail? Extroverts get more unhealthy and superficially attached. Introverts get genuinely attached. I think you're right. I didn't know that. I hadn't heard that before. But I think that it would probably take longer for an introvert to get attached,
Because they're always.
but it's deeper.
Deep.
I do know that in relationships I had, people that are a little more guarded in the beginning, if they're more guarded in the beginning, once they turn the corner, it's all.
And they really let down the
Yeah,
walls,
it's
right?
all in. It's all in. It's almost scary.
Right.
Sure, you can deal with my fluctuating English and find a time I'd be up for a chat live with you. Right on, Judith. Well, your English is great. Judith, don't you speak of like 4 or 5 languages? That's impressive. Use the word fluctuating or already above average intelligence here. Okay. I noticed the same one. My bestie really is an extrovert. She has a zillion of people gravitating around her, but she says I'm the only one she feels close to. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. I don't know what I would definitely be an extrovert most of the time, but extroverts need to recharge too.
Because they're spent emotionally, like having all these people. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a friend of mine he's a computer programmer, and he's really cool. We get along really well. Good friends of mine. But he has trouble, and he's like, whenever they have like cocktail parties, because his wife does stuff like Christmas parties, he's like, I just don't even know what to do, man.
So she's an extrovert.
His wife's an
Yeah,
extrovert, but and I'm like, oh, events like that, I love to be in multiple people or groups like that. I have no problem. But I would say that the groups you're in, even if you're an extrovert, sometimes you can feel uncomfortable if it's a group that that you don't identify with.
Yeah. You're trying to create small talk.
Right? It's like if I went to a Seahawks party and I'm a Niners fan, it would be uncomfortable because I'd just be like, you know what? I know we're just all NFL fans, but right? You guys are Seahawks fans? Come on, man. Have you ever heard of the less common concept of ambiversion? No, tell me about it, Rob. I know you know. I genuinely think he's used to dating easy European white women who throw themselves at him. He's not used to, nor did she have much experience in one being in a relationship and two more with a colored woman, says Rita Rose. It's quite possible. Well, I would say different cultures, different places in the world would be different experiences. I know.
Absolutely.
So, you know what? That's possible, and some people can. Sometimes people think they have a preference just because that's who they've been with longer,
Sure.
and they'll learn. Oh, all females are like this because that's the group that they've dated for a long time. So, I'm not sure how you'd overcome that, Rita Rose. If he likes those particular culture of women, that's his prerogative, I suppose. No, I only speak English and French. That's way enough. Most of the time, I speak Frenglish. I've never heard that before. Well, Judith, Rita Rose, you lived in Paris, right? Judith lives in Paris, so I'll just introduce you. You almost said parasites.
Parisians.
Parisians is what I want to say. Excuse me. Excuse me, Parisians. I'm just saying what came to my head. I'd love to go to Paris. Actually, that'd be on my list.
I mean,
It's nice.
one of my favorite places that I've ever been.
Oh, come on.
I love it.
Come
I'm
on.
not a city person, and I never.
Oh, it's one of my favorite places. Yeah, I've been.
love it. I've been one time.
Yeah, I just fly in for a croissant here and there. I've been over there a few times.
Honestly,
I've been there for a weekend at a cafe.
Amazing croissants.
That's what everyone says. Yeah, well, we have French people that make croissants here.
I'm joking. I mean, they're pretty good. But
Isn't it croissant?
yeah.
I've had friends that lived in France and they suddenly come back and they're like, "Oh,
There's
croissant."
It's a croissant.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay.
No, honestly, the crepes. That's what I do remember were fantastic.
Okay. I believe you. What about the Eiffel Tower? Did you go up there?
I did.
See, stuff like that, I'm going to be honest. If I went and they like, hey, we have to go up there, I'd go, no, I don't need to go up there.
No, that was cool. What I took away, like why it was one of my favorite places to go, was like the little stuff of like sitting in like a corner cafe on the street.
Yeah,
that was cool to me, like experiencing that kind of thing.
I'd rather do that.
Having coffee, like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
The
just
stuff
walking
that's like
around the city.
landmark stuff now.
That stuff is okay. Like it's cool to take some pictures of that kind of touristy stuff. But just the walking around the city, the vibe of the city was really cool.
There's supposed to be an underground area that has a bunch of like skeletons and bones. Have you ever seen that?
I think I've seen like documentaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, about that.
It has. It's weird.
There's supposed to be like an underground city or something like
In Paris?
Yeah, like I don't know if it's Paris.
I think so.
I think
I've seen it on a documentary also. Only speak English, French is waiting. I think I'm an introvert. I can be socially awkward at times. It depends on who you're around, right?
Mhm.
It's like
If you're around like-minded people.
like me being a teacher for years and having to speak to a class,
Mhm.
especially when teaching university, you teach 35, 40 students talk. You get used to it. You don't get uncomfortable. Now, I've had situations where I had like teachers from other schools,
Mhm.
totally different with the way they
Right.
look at you.
Right. No, I would definitely consider myself more introverted. Like I remember being in college and even like being a little anxious about parties and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But once you're, for me anyways, like once I was at the party and like,
Had some
drinking
drinks.
and
Had
stuff
some
like
drinks.
that, then you get more comfortable and you become a little more extroverted, I guess. But there was always that, okay, we're gonna go out, but I was totally cool chilling, inside or in the room, whatever.
People need to have a little bit. I think it's good to have a little bit of both because if you're on one, you're too one-sided. It's tough to interact because people that are too extroverted, you're like tone it down.
It's a little, can be a little too much. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my relatives' wives, I won't say, but they work in retail. I worked in retail before, and it's like when you talk to them, they're still working in
It's like
retail.
it's always on.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Oh, is anything else?
Mhm.
Oh, did you want a drink? Okay, we'll be right back. And I'm just like, what's his tone? Do you know what I mean?
It's never there's no off switch.
Yeah.
always
It's
on.
just like I feel like you're You're definitely retail, huh?
Mhm.
And like I said, I've worked it before, but I don't remember being like, okay, just turn it off. Right? Oh my God, that's so true. Yeah. Um, he's socially awkward, and I've really been quite patient. You're quite patient because he's socially awkward. Well, that's kind of you.
I mean, yeah.
I've had enough of your social awkwardness. Pah! Smack him. More, her other friends are more circumstantial and less genuine than you. The type of friends extroverts make are many and largely superficial.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess the amount of people that they're like letting in.
Well, I don't. It's funny because I know a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm friendly with a lot of people. If I call them a friend, I would certainly not think they're superficial friends. It's kind of more acquaintances. I'm okay with like B knows me. I'll make small talk with a lot of people, and it's fine. But I don't find it superficial. I think it's more superficial if you're making small talk for business.
But you can use superficial like in not like in a bad way.
Really?
Right? I think you could say it's just more of like superficial friendship. Like I don't think it necessarily.
You don't think it's negative?
I think it.
I think superficial means fake.
No, but I think it just means on the surface. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
I think that we tend to use it more that way. But I think you can, just have superficial friendships. I guess it can, have like a negative connotation. But
Okay. Ambivert, balance of two introvert and extrovert. Okay, everyone wants to be an ambivert then,
so
right?
You have your different
I'm an
levels.
ambivert. I'll take that one.
I've never heard that.
I'll take that one and put it on my jacket.
I'm an ambivert.
My name's Mac, and I'm an ambivert. Rita Rose Hubbleworth. I don't want to teach a grown-ass man how to act. Then don't. He doesn't want you to teach him either, I don't think. Well, what I would say is, what are the social circles that are awkward? Because, like I said, I mean,
Yeah.
I think one of the most awkward things for me in my whole life is whenever I've met a girlfriend's father. That's never like, what's up, man?
You're always like,
it's just like, like, say hello, stay quiet, be fucking polite, because you're just like in the back of your head, you're like, yeah, she's been staying at my house, right? It's like that's one of those ones where I'll become an introvert a little bit.
Kind of have to read the situation a bit.
Yeah. Right. No one wants like, oh, is this, this guy really thinks he's sharp, doesn't he?
This guy.
Yeah, this guy over here. Wow, we're up on 3 hours here. 2:30. This is a pretty good run today. Rita Rose Hubblesworth. That's too bad you didn't want to call in. I'll have to work on that scrambler for you. Rob came late, but he's usually always on time. Someone said that we were on for a while. Someone said that they didn't get the
notification.
Yeah, people tell me that all the time. Oh, I just got the notification now. It's been 2 hours. What is this, man? What is this? I'm gonna talk to you two about this. That tone is a plus point in customer service. Oh yeah. You know the guy that bugs me? You gotta have seen this if you've been on YouTube at all. Have you seen Mind Valley? Have you seen Mind Valley? There's an Indian guy. I think he's like Indian American, or he lives in Malaysia. And because there's so many sales pitches out there right now, right? And the short commercial videos and stuff like that. Hey, you got tight hips. Here's the yoga. You got this. You got that. You got this. You got that. Right? Okay, whatever. I get it. This guy sometimes he's selling like he's got Rob would know Mind Valley or someone else would know it, and I can't think of his name, but he annoys me. Hey, guy, like his pitch of his voice and the way he presents stuff. I actually like the stuff that's presented. Like it's cool. Like Jose Silva, Mind Method. Like some of the things are cool.
Just the way
he comes off just sales and superficial,
Mhm.
whatever the word is. Like he's just selling something. I don't know. There's a craft to it, I suppose. And there's some people that like he's all over, right? He also owns the company and he made himself the pitch man, right? I'll have to show you afterwards. The Silva method I believe in, but that's a different thing. That's a whole other thing. But the Mind Valley, um, I forgot his name, Najib or something like that. I don't know. Can't think of it right now. All right, folks. Does anyone have any closing questions at 3 hours? Jose Silva books are fairly good reads. Yeah, he's got an interesting story, Jose Silva. I do some of that. Eduardo Martinez is back on deck. We're live. We've been live for 3 hours, dude. 3 hours close, and I'm just hitting my stride. But I don't know if there's anything else we're talking about here. I'd need a call in. It's like I ran out of trail here.
You have good stories there.
Oh yeah, Judith. I get uncomfortable with silence when I don't know the person and it's too quiet, but only because I'm worried if the person is comfortable. I'm cool with staying quiet. Mm.
So you're just worried about the other person.
Well, that's what phones are for now, Judith. Right?
Yeah.
It used to be. Think about this.
Yeah.
It used to be cigarettes.
That would, yeah.
Right? I remember. I've never been a cigarette smoker, but I remember in high school, that would be like, you're not going to conversate, or you need to take a break, man. Go have a cigarette, man. But now it's like if you give someone 30 seconds or a minute, they're just going to take their phone out. I'm busy. I got people that are notifying me of stuff.
No, right? And talk to someone.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, that's another thing. Roller Girl. He basically. Yes. Well, I think he bought the Silva method and writes, but I mean, on the internet now you can find. It's like I was thinking yesterday. Someone had told me this to put together, like a master class or some things on a breakup and do really good, high quality video and stuff. But sometimes you think to yourself, isn't everything for free now? Video. A friend of mine that does yoga and stuff, she has these really high quality yoga videos, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm charging for the videos," and I'm like, "Isn't that's a pretty difficult sale, huh?"
Can't you find it?
Right?
Free online.
Yeah, I like I'm gonna be probably. But I was thinking about this yesterday. Now, because I was looking through all these videos on my channel, and you can just tell by my style that I'm not into the details of the thumbnails and the titles and everything, but there's like 900 up there. I have like 1,000 videos that I made. I just keep made videos, but they're not all good quality. Some of the videos bad. Some right. So I was like, you know what? What if I just clipped it from like 900 videos to like 200, and then make 30 or 40 where I'm just like, this is what you need to know. Maybe that's where I have to go with it, because to me, sometimes people want to get to a point where they're like, I've noticed myself on YouTube now or Netflix, it's a paradox of choice, and I'm just like, if there's too many choices, I'm like, give me some guidance here of what's good, right? There's too many choices now. Netflix is hard to pick a movie, right?
You're searching through everything. Oh, okay.
I don't even watch Netflix anymore. I don't know. I lost interest in it. Revolve around other areas of meditation. He works with Silva family. Okay. It's hard to relax with someone unless you know they're relaxed. That's exciting honeymoon phase before you know someone well. Well, I mean, the best way to be in the interactions is to be first. So someone it was shocking because someone I really respect recently was like, "Oh, I just moved to this new town and no one says hello to me." Well, be first.
Be the first one.
How you doing today? Be first. Be the one that says hello first. If you want people to talk to you, be first to smile or say hello. I mean, but there's certain parts of the states where if you, you know, say hello and smile at someone, they'll be like, "What are you looking at?"
Yeah.
You know exactly what I mean, dude. I
100%.
don't live there. You know what I mean? There's certain parts of the states you'd be like, "What's this guy looking at?"
Don't be making eye contact.
Yeah, like what's his? You got a problem? Right? It's like
But there's other parts where it's totally welcomed and friendly.
here. I mean, here where I live, you make eye contact, smile at everyone and anyone, and everyone's receptive.
No problem.
Yeah, it's highly rare if someone having an attitude here. You can have a close call in an accident, and someone saying, "Sorry, almost just ran into each other." His books really helped me when I was doing door-to-door sales on the West Coast. Really, Derek D? You did door-to-door sales on the West Coast? That's seasoned. Same. I haven't watched Netflix in months. Why, Nav? Tell me why you don't watch it. I think that the quality is stuff, but I think it's just some of it's just I don't know. It's
repetitive.
It's repetitive. Cody's better than Netflix.
Cody, K-O-D-I.
Yeah, you've heard of it?
It's like a.
Is it free or something?
Yeah. It's like pirating. You know, you should like download, but it's like pirated streaming.
Sounds like an extrovert in town full of grumpy introverts. Stream goes silent. Don't know what to do. Take out your phone. I know what you mean. Back home, people aren't really friendly. When I moved to PA, people smile, say good morning, speak to you in stores. It was super weird at first. PA's Pennsylvania, right?
Because you're not used to it, and then.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
What people disregard in all these YouTube generalizations, where you live, where you're at in the world, really makes a difference in what you're experiencing. Right. So what they do is they go, "Oh, all women or all men are like this, or all people are like this." It's bullshit. And I've been to parts of PA that were like that. I was in Coatesville, PA, I think, where Amish people are and stuff. Yeah, it's different.
Because it's like rural in some areas, right? It's pretty countryish, right?
It's like I had one client I talked about before. He was in Oklahoma. He had like a 1,500 acre ranch. Really nice, down to earth guy. It's gonna be tough to meet women there, man. Mm-hmm. And he had like one woman that he met like 45 minutes away. Right. They went horseback riding together. They really down to earth guy. But in the back of my head, I'm like, this is gonna be tough, man. What are you gonna do? Fly one in? It's it counts. I've been Erie several times. I don't know what that means. Get Cody. They have thousands of TV movie streams all for free. Just don't watch TV that much anymore. Just like my sports a little bit. And go with that. All right, folks. Closing questions. I always do this, and then I keep on going for a fucking hour. I can't get enough.
People have good questions.
Erie, PA. I've never been there, Rob. Did you visit Lake Erie? Okay. I can't find anything that I like on Netflix anymore. There are a few good shows that are old, which I haven't watched, but now it's not as exciting to binge watch shows like I used to be. Why do you think it's not as exciting? I think that our attention span. Well, I'm talking about myself. This is where
generalizing.
Yeah, just the attention span to watch a whole movie is hard after watching YouTube so much. Here I am doing 3 hours though live. Okay, when it's my show, I'll do it.
Then you'll do it.
Yeah, when it's my show, I got 3 hours for you. When I'm the head cheese. Have a great night. Good to hear from you, Judith. I hope you're doing well. I hope we'll be in contact soon. Rob IS, Guardian of the Gate, you were late, but that's okay. Nav, I think, was here from the get-go, which is a big compliment considering she doesn't watch Netflix anymore. Lindertube, I believe he's been on deck for a while. Roller Girl left, then came back. That's probably one of the highest compliments. Derek D, who used to do door-to-door book sales. Wow. I think that job's extinct, huh? I used to be a paper boy and collected the money door to door, and it was $6.50 a month for the newspaper. I remember when I was 11 years old, and I was a paper boy. It's 30 years ago, man. That's crazy. Went door to door at $6.50 a month. I would turn in the collections. It was like 80. I think I got paid $80 for a month. And to answer your question, Rita Rose Hubblesworth, thanks for being vulnerable today and sharing your story. Who else was on deck here? Ernesto, PB's finest. Jenny Jen. I just think about J-Lo when I see Jenny. J-Lo was J-Lo in her 50s now or 60s?
I think she's 50s.
What a legend. What a legend.
Look like she still looks 30.
Yeah. I used to love J-Lo.
Oh, yeah. When she was like the dancer? Like,
She's a sweetheart. I did door-to-door sales from magazines, multi-purpose cleaners, and those damn Kirby vacuums.
oh, Kirby's. I remember.
You want to hear Derek T? Mary that comes on here sometimes said she used to do that too. Kirby vacuum. I can't imagine Mary doing it. All right, my ears are starting to fall off. I used to work at a snowboard shop. Okay, everyone's going, why? What's the worst job you had? Actually, Paperboy was probably my best job. That was a great job, man. That was fun. Friends used to want to go with me and throw the papers.
To chuck them?
Yeah, the worst job I ever had was I worked at a Hofbräu.
Restaurant?
Yeah, it was called Harry's Hofbräu. They had them in the Bay Area.
Wait, yeah.
You've been to them?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like a high-end cafeteria. And it was like white or wheat dinner roll, white or wheat dinner roll, white or wheat dinner roll.
Because it's a buffet style, right?
Yeah. I had to take that. When I was in high school, I had work experience, which meant you got credits for working because I worked over 30 hours a week in high school, and I got fired from my job at a drugstore, which I won't tell the story to, the long drugstore. And when I got fired from that job, they're like, you got to get a job where you won't get the credits for high school. And so they're like, oh, we got this Hofbräu. I'm like, I don't want to work at this. And she's like, you better take it because you get the credits. And I remember the guy was like, had this talk with me, and he was like a career Harry's Hofbräu manager.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you've worked here for 15 years, dude. You look decently cool. Like, why would you do this? And in my head, there was another guy, and they were like, wow, you don't really seem excited when you've been working here. I'm like, white or wheat dinner roll?
Yeah.
The best part of it was like you got free food because it was a carvery.
Right.
Turkey.
So whatever's left.
They had real turkey.
Yeah.
But they used to get pissed at me because I also was in charge of giving the ice cream. And I would just be like,
Loaded.
10 scoops. You want whipped cream? They're like, you're not supposed to give that much. And I'm like, this is where my power is. You guys don't pay me very much. I don't like this job. So this kid's getting 3 scoops instead of 1. And I'd always tell my friends, come in. You guys want ice cream? Yeah. All right, folks. It's curtains.
Curtains.